Good day, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Viper's Viperland, and I swear there was background music here when I put it on pause, but apparently it's just stopped now. We're back with House and Fata Morgana after... There's the music. After a Sunday off, because, friends. Uh, unless one of these is insanely longer than all the others, we should definitely finish short stories today. Depending on how much time we have left, I may or may not start the reincarnations today. We'll see. I don't know how long Reincarnation is supposed to be, but we're going to get into it, because that's what we're going to do. We finished page 1, left off on page 2, which is perfect, because it's hard to forget where I left off. And, yeah. We got these to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's do them. Eternal... Mage? I definitely don't know how to pronounce that word. Are you okay, Orlando? A single flower out of place in that den of body odor and booze charged across the pub to take to the table at the back where he sat. She had radiant golden hair as though she carried the sun itself on her shoulders. All the other men paused their drinking and merrymaking to get a look. The flower was out of breath by the time she reached his table. Orlando was a tall, lanky man with thin eyebrows, hardly what one might have assumed a lady as refined as her would be interested in. Also, Sora, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. No, I'm good. Between 2 Thanksgivings and a mall trip this weekend, I had enough food. I've had enough food. And the bandages wrapped around his head, covering one eye, only served to enhance this discount villain image. A man somewhere in the pub let out a whistle. Princess and the Thief, a match made in hell. Orlando glared over at him for a few moments before the young lady shouted, "What happened to you?" directly in his face. "Don't shout like that, Philippa. Jesus, trying to make me go deaf? Tell me what happened. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Will it get better?" "It's no big deal, really. You know what they say, scars are trophies. Oh yeah, see any good eye patches out on the market today?" "Something black would be great. Do they make eye patches in other colors? I've only ever seen black eye patches. But I've also only really seen eye patches in media. I have to assume in real life there are eye patches of whatever color you're looking for." "Pie twice in 3 days. Would you believe that only one of the Thanksgivings had pie? Only one of the Thanksgivings had turkey. Only one of the Thanksgivings had deviled eggs. The Thanksgiving that had deviled eggs also had egg tarts. Double the egginess. So it wasn't a total overlap. I would argue there was very little that was an overlap. They both had sweet potato casserole, but it was very different. And they both had stuffing, but it was also very different. So there really wasn't much actual overlap between them all. They both started with cheese and crackers, but that was my doing. I caused that. Also, Eric, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. How you doing? "It's no big deal, really." Oh, yeah, I read that one. Sorry. "Dress it up a bit." Orlando chuckled and shrugged his shoulders. But Philippa's frown only deepened. "Do you want people to think you're a pirate and throw you into the sea?" Philippa pounded on the table in response. In the span of about 30 seconds, she had gone through the entire spectrum of emotions: sad, angry, upset, worried, disappointed. "Listen, Orlando," she said with a sigh. "We've been together our whole lives. Don't you think you should have come to see me first? I've been worried sick ever since I heard how things went in Cassel. So when I saw the soldiers coming back, I just had to know you were okay. Why do you keep me waiting like that?" If Philippa was going to be this blunt, Orlando couldn't continue messing around. She stole a chair from somewhere, threw it beside him, and dropped down into it in a single action entirely unbefitting of an upper-class lady. We're in a bar. There's a woman named Philippa and a man named Orlando. Orlando's bandaged the hell up and is joking about it. Philippa's mad at not telling her first. That is what has happened. Also, Roman, how you doing? Welcome to Viperland in the chat." Then she leaned in and said, "So? So what? So tell me all about the battle at Cassel." "Oh yeah, apparently it happened at a battle." "In detail, to make up for all the time you made me spend worrying. It's no fairy tale, you know. It's bloody and violent, not to mention it was a losing battle. Still want to know," she said, leaning in even closer, her vivid hazel eyes unflinching. "It's about you, of course I want to know." He dropped his shoulders and sighed, feigning defeat. Everyone at the pub knew it was just an act, that Orlando had feelings for this enchanting childhood friend of his. In reality, he wanted to jump out of his chair and start dancing when she'd barged in looking for him. His other mercenary companions had caught on quickly to the reason he joined, the reason he needed the money, and they watched warmly. There was only one person there who didn't know yet, Philippa herself. But it was only a matter of time. They had been close their whole lives, after all. I can regale you with tales of valor and triumph, but if you insist, Orlando said to preface his account. And then he told her of their battle at Cassel, of their fallen comrades, of the state of the war. Their homeland was at war with the western kingdoms. Battles broke out across the land, and mercenaries were hired to compensate for the lack of soldiers. Orlando grew up in a port town, but instead of becoming a fisher, he decided to take up the sword. Rookie mistake. Why not both? His childhood friend Philippa chastised him repeatedly, doing everything she could to stop him from going to war. But Orlando was firm in his resolve. His first battle was 4 years ago, and he was surprised he had survived as long as he did. But now that he lost an eye, Orlando figured that it was probably time to pack it in. He saved up a decent amount of money anyway. Orlando knew Philippa's parents would never approve, but he was sure he had enough to convince them of his love, because love was only second when it came to someone so far above your own status. Which is why he hadn't become a fisher. Orlando took up the mantle of a mercenary to save enough money to propose marriage to the daughter of a wealthy merchant family. That was what he lived for. Hey, Philippa? Finishing his account of the battle, Orlando straightened himself up in his seat. Philippa raised an eyebrow. Yes? What is it? The soldiers at the nearby table started grinning, thinking it was finally time. But he wasn't going to propose to her in a grungy pub. He was planning to invite her somewhere more fitting when... Greetings, brave warriors, came a booming voice at the door. I celebrate your fine efforts out on the battlefield, and to commemorate, my crew and I offer you these meager gifts. Orlando clicked his tongue as loud as he could manage. Why the hell did he have to show up now of all times? Standing at the door, in Orlando's words, a yellow-skinned bastard whose face looked like a lizard crushed by a pot lid. Wow. The man was the captain of a trading vessel that had quickly expanded its business over the past few years. Orlando didn't like him, not only because he was an outsider, but because he had sweet-talked and bought his way into the upper crust. Aren't you trying to buy... I get it. He's not trying to buy his way into a noble family, but an outsider might see it that way. We understand that he's like, they won't think I'm worthy unless I can back up my marriage proposal with money. But an outsider might be like, you've taken your entire life, you know. Yeah, also, going to war is very different from having a trade ship. A little different. Man's crew carried barrels of wine into the pub, and every single soldier's face was lit up, except Orlando's. He just frowned, trying to make it clear he wouldn't be bought so easily. Oh, why hello there, Philippa. Fancy meeting you here. Seeing the man getting friendly with her just irritated him even more. And then when he walked over and put his hand on her shoulder, Orlando snapped, kicking his chair back and almost charging at the man. Get your filthy hands off her, you ape. Back off, Philippa's mine. We have important things to discuss right now. Get the fuck out of here, con man. But Orlando didn't manage to say anything. It really is quite the coincidence. Orlando's jaw dropped. Philippa's cheeks were flushed, her gaze turned towards her feet, her arms held straight down at her center with her fingers interlocking. He had never seen her like that before. The rough, pushy, unrefined girl she was for him was because he was just her longtime friend to Philippa. In the 4 years Orlando had spent saving up to propose, another man, wealthy by birth, had come in and beaten him to the punch. He learned that night that it was the haves who made the world go round, and the have-nots like him were only along for the ride. As much as you may insist otherwise, you really do care, Orlando, Philippa's daughter, Pauline, said with a bright smile. The many years since that night had relieved Orlando of both his youth and his optimism. I feel bad enough as it is. Please don't take advantage of me, he said, his voice softer and his tone lighter now. With his life's mission ending in failure, Orlando gave up being a mercenary and took up somewhat less exciting work. Sometimes a bodyguard, sometimes just carrying boxes, but never anything terribly life-threatening. I think I might take full advantage of this. Thanks. See you in a bit. Pauline's smile was vibrant, something she got from her mother. Her hair was black like her father's, though. You could see both of them in her, and it tore him apart sometimes, dragging him back to his younger days. After watching her scamper off into the village, Orlando turned his head up towards the sky. Stop thinking about it. Just focus on what you have to do. He needed to convince Pauline that there was nothing to find here, then bring her back home. Philippa would be furious with him. He might even end all association with him for this, but he was not going to let her go off on this search with some stranger and get herself killed. So his only choice was to go himself and then bring her back. Orlando heaved a sigh and then headed into the village. He prayed nothing would happen to her. Well, yeah. I think we have to go, well, I guess we can just go down the ways, because these are part 1 and part 2. Yeah. A Slice of Sweet Serenity of Days Long Lost, Part 1. The Midsummer Festival was behind us, leaving only the hellish heat and none of the distractions. I lived here in the slums long enough to not be surprised by the chaos that came with the seasons, but I never looked forward to it either, particularly the smells. Mostly human smells. Yep, a little back here. The alleys were where the worst of it was, and there was no peace in our little peacekeepers group when it came to decide who had to patrol them. But even down here in the foulest dregs of the city, there were small pockets of light. Hidden spots where one could enjoy the breeze without worrying about catching a surprise whiff of rotting flesh. One such oasis was a small graveyard, home to those forgotten souls who passed with no family or loved ones. It looked like little more than scattered rocks in the grass if you didn't know any better, and for the past 2.5 years it had been tended to by a single young girl by the name of Morgana. Today, as I had almost every day since she'd come here, I headed for the graveyard. I'd been having trouble focusing recently, ever since coming face to face with my feelings for her. I made rookie mistakes in training, which invited all sorts of teasing from Gratian. Give me a break, kid, you're even worse off than the day we met. I wanted nothing more than to clock him square in the jaw, but I knew he was right. I wasn't myself. And of all things, it was the love that was throwing me off. I could hardly believe it. Though in reality, it was less the love itself and more the age difference that vexed me. Morgana was 11 years old, still a child. I was 21, an adult. That's a... Clearly I was out of my mind. Something was wrong with me. I mean, you know... We'll fall back on the... It was a long time ago. Times were different. But also, even he's like... I accept this ain't normal. I tried to talk myself out of it again and again. But the more energy I expended on the issue, the stronger the feelings became. If we were closer in age, it wouldn't have been such an issue, so why? I had no answer, though, only these feelings. And at that point, I had no choice but to accept them. I was in love with her, with a child barely half my age, no matter how mature she acted. There was nothing I could do to change that. I knew at least that I would have to wait until she were older to tell her how I felt. I can only imagine how terrifying it would be for her to have a man twice her size and age profess his love. It was out of the question. I needed to make sure she didn't feel like I was pressuring her into anything, because that wasn't what I wanted. Why does everything have to be so difficult? The closer I got to the graveyard, the more of a disaster I felt. Obviously, I was thrilled to be able to be with Morgana. That wasn't even a question. But my own priorities were quickly shifting from keeping the peace in the slums to caring for her. Thoughts of her had begun to consume my life, though I would never admit as much to her. It was the awareness that posed the biggest challenge. It changed how I looked at her, threw out everything I knew about how to act around her. And Morgana had clearly caught on to my recent uneasiness as well. The other day, after a particularly awkward conversation, she had given me this burning glare and said, "Excuse me, you seem on edge. What foolishness are you scheming now?" "What are you fretting over, Jacopo? Just act normal. It's not that hard. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Clear your head." I passed by a few makeshift gravestones searching for that distinctive tattered black robe. Usually wasn't hard to find, with it mostly being grass and rocks here, but I had no such luck today. Is she not here yet? Deciding to wait for a bit, I headed over towards a tree for some shade, which is where I found Morgana, her head resting against the trunk. If you're going to sleep on the job, at least get back to the brothel and do it there, I mumbled under my breath, approaching the tree. "Hey." No response. "Morgana." But once I got close enough, it became clear I hadn't just stumbled on her slacking off. She wasn't so much leaning against the tree, Morgana, as she was collapsed in front of it. I scrambled over to her, dropping to my knees and put a hand on her shoulder, causing her to topple forward, like her head falling into my chest. She was burning up. Hey, stay with me. It's you. Her golden eyes glanced up towards me, empty and slightly bloodshot. She clenched her lips together as if trying to hold back a cough. Just have a bit of a fever. A little sleep and I'll be fine. Like hell you will. We need to get you back to the brothel. No, I can't go back. Come again? No, I don't have time to deal with your stupid morals right now. I don't want to get anyone sick. They're doing their best. So she hadn't come out here for herself, but to protect the girls at the brothel. Do you call me stupid? Christ. Not a single person there cared about themselves over Morgana's safety. Not the girls, and certainly not me. But she continued to insist I not bring her back. I bit my tongue, fighting back an urge to snap at her. I wanted to say something nice or reassuring, but I was too irritated by her usual self-sacrificing nonsense that I couldn't. So I can take you somewhere else then, as long as it's not the brothel. I lifted her into my arms, without permission, but it was an emergency. She would understand. Although in her feverish state, she didn't seem to understand much of anything right now. With Morgana in my arms, I hurried home. I laid her down in my bed, soaked an old rag in cold water, and placed it across her forehead. It was all I had, but it was better than nothing. I'll be right back, I said, then ran out the door. Next, I went to the pub, where I had the barmaid get me some fruit and other light foods. And while I was there, I told a few of my peacekeeper companions about what was happening, asking them to cover for me that afternoon. They laughed and teased, but all I was concerned about right now was getting Morgana better. Next, I made my way to the brothel. Maria was still asleep, so I woke her up and explained what was going on. Thankfully, having known each other our whole lives, it only took a couple of minutes to get everything through her half-asleep head. She let out an exaggerated sigh and said, God, that girl, she should know us better than that by now. On my way out, Maria gave me a few pieces of advice, and a set of fresh sleepwear. With the clothes in hand, I rushed back home once more, the merciless summer sun pounding down on my sweaty back the entire time. When I made it back, Morgana's breathing was fast and shallow, her eyes clenched shut in pain. The rag on her forehead was already warm. I peeled it off, and she opened her eyes, apparently awake. Can you eat anything? She shook her head weakly. At least drink some water. If you don't have something, you're going to sweat it all out and wither away and die. Not that there's much in that tiny body of yours to lose in the first place. Felt a pointed stare, but that was it. No witty retorts. It didn't look like she even had the energy to drink on her own, so I scooped some water into a cup and brought it to her lips. Took her a while to drink even half the small cup. You need some rest, but only after you get out of that robe. It's drenched. Maria gave me some nightwear for you to use. You'll be much cooler in this. I held out the immaculate white gown for her to see. Clothes in the slums were always someone else's hand-me-downs, usually several times over. Something this new was a rarity. Fine as I am, she said, turning her head away. Absolutely not, I snapped back. Just put this on, okay? No, I see. You're not comfortable changing with me in the room. Alright, I'll be outside. Does that work? Come on, say something. If you won't change yourself, I'll do it for you. You want me to rip that big heavy thing off you myself, do you? If you would, please. Yeah, I hear you. You'll do it. What? Did she just ask me to do it for her? I want out of this, but I can barely... Yeah, if she's having trouble drinking a glass of water, you ain't doing much else. Oh, right. Yeah, alright, fine. Well, since you asked so politely. My entire body suddenly froze up. It only said what I did because I was so certain she would tell me no. This was not part of the plan. The fever must have really gotten to her. Under any other circumstance, she would never agree to this. Morgana hated showing people her skin, which was one reason she wore that heavy black robe, even in the summer, and kept her face hidden by that ridiculous hood. Keep your head, Jacopo. You're caring for a sick girl, nothing more. She's a child anyway. You're not so far lost that you would have inappropriate thoughts about a child, are you? Repeating the words in my head like a mantra, I began removing the robe. It's even wetter than it looked, and it weighed a ton. I could see why she was dehydrated. Her hair was sticking to the back of her neck, too. I'd probably need to comb that out when I was done. My heart pounding at probably dangerous speeds, I set the robe on the floor beside her bed, doing everything in my power to look anywhere other than at her. I then pulled the gown down over her head, guiding her arms through the sleeves. But as hard as I tried, I couldn't completely avoid the sight of her pale white skin, particularly her chest, but not for any uncouth reasons. It was the cross-shaped scar that caught my eye. Scars covered Morgana's body from her time at Lord Barnia's captivity, and while the wounds themselves had healed, it was still a grisly sight. The deepest among them was a cross-shaped scar at the center of her chest, which seemed to embody the entire tragic story of her life. Seeing it filled me with unspeakable sadness and helplessness. Not to mention deep shame at the base thoughts that had threatened to cross my mind in the moments before. I wish there was something, anything, I could do to show her that not everyone is out to hurt her, as much as the world may have made it seem so. Yanked back to my senses by the sounds of her voice, I pulled the gown down the rest of the way in a panic. I was just making sure I got it on right. Absolutely nothing inappropriate, I swear, I said. It's perhaps the least convincing excuse imaginable. Yeah. She looked me straight in the eye, then turned away. And then in a voice as soft as a feather, she whispered, I'm sorry. You're sorry? For what? I don't understand you at all. Maybe she felt bad about imposing on me. Either way, she sure got meek when she wasn't feeling well, huh? I chuckled to myself. The only thing you need to concern yourself with right now is getting better. Then, when you are, you can tell me to go burn in hell for this, like the Morgana I know would. Don't apologize. Okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. I can't deal with you like this, I said with a sigh, picking her robe up off the floor and making my way towards the window. If I set it out in the sun, it'd probably be wearable again by tomorrow. Is there anything else you want from me? Believe it or not, I'm capable of showing kindness when someone's sick, so ask away. I'm at your service. Yeah, I figured as much. Me? Leave me. Ah, right, you want time to rest in peace, Inder. Don't leave me. I stopped dead in my tracks and spun back to look at her. Had she really asked me to not leave her alone? Her, Morgana? I was pretty sure I hadn't misheard her, at least. Sure, I said uncertainly, then headed back towards the bed, taking a seat on the edge. The wooden frame creaked under the weight of a second body. What? Your face is red. Did I get you sick? No, of course not. Perfectly fine. That's good. Morgana's eyes were unfocused, like she was drifting between dream and reality. I doubted she grasped what was going on or anything she had said, and by the time tomorrow came around, she would probably have forgotten everything. Which was probably for the best. Didn't want her to remember me looking like this. I reached over and took Morgana's hand in mine. She didn't protest, and in fact, it seemed to help her relax, because less than a minute later, she had drifted quietly off to sleep. The sight of her soft, sleeping face in the sunlight was indescribably beautiful, no matter how hideous anyone else may have thought of it. Also, hey, Seven, how you doing? Welcome to Viper Landing Chat. Hope you had a good, long weekend. Hope you're doing well. I remained there, her hand in mine, for a while longer. And as I said a little prayer, may I be the one to take these hands and guide them into the future. So I assume part 2 is us seeing it from her point of view? I don't know. I feel like that's a whole thing, but there's a part 2. A slice of sweet serenity of days long lost, part 2. Felt like nightmare after nightmare. Yeah, dreams of my mother abandoning me, of nobles mocking me, that terrible lord drinking my blood. Oh, well, damn, hold on. Didn't even look at chat. Well, thank you so heckin' much for 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Huge. Thank you, 7th. Much appreciated. Let's see, who do we got it? The Artizark, Shadowstorm, the Boss G, Queenie Kelly VT, Enigma of August, all getting some gifted subs. Much appreciated. Ah, okay. Well, still much appreciated. We got ourselves a hype train going too. So, you know. Thank you. Always hugely appreciated. Heck, what was that? 70 total gifted? Geez, 70 total gifted subs. Holy moly. Huge thanks. Always appreciate the support. Hope things are going great. Congrats on all of the fish? Question mark. It sounds like it's not getting you much good on the fishing bot, but there's not much I can do with that one. Yeah, it does make sense that these would probably be like some sort of like random thing. Well, yeah, it's nice to have everything here, for sure. Not even a fish, just a trolley. Okay, well, the fishing bot is being fairly trashed today, but still, I appreciate it, even if the fishing bot doesn't seem to. For some reason. Bot, come on, catch something good. Come on, catch something good. I don't know if that's the last of the fish. Alright, it's technically, that's not a fish, but it is a sea creature. We'll go with that. It's better than a trolley. No, one more. Good fish? Good fish? Oh? Huh. Alright, a new record, ghost fish. That's one of those, like, old... Oh, but it counted as the person getting the gifted sub. I was going to do 2 for each one. Alright, well, yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, I'm going to continue going with this. The fish are going to catch up. It'll happen. A filthy man in the slums gagging at the sight of me. But no matter how many times they threatened to swallow me up, there was always a hand there holding me in place. It was a man's hand, large and strong, but soft and gentle. It could only belong to one person. No, I don't think it breaks. I think it just handles gifted subs weird, because it recognizes that the sub was gifted, but then it also does a fish for the person the sub went to. So I guess it's just an unintended doubling. I guess? Maybe it's intended? I don't know. I'm not going to change it. But I don't think it's... Yeah, it's always been a little weird with gifted subs. This is only like maybe the second time there's been a multi-gifted since I installed the fish bot. So, I think it just handles them weird, but like, as long as nobody's getting ripped off, then cool, good. I slowly drifted back to reality. My head still hurt a little, but it wasn't as hard to breathe anymore, and I could see clearly again. Pale blue moonlight seeped into the room through the window. I pushed myself up in the bed, a little too hard though. The weight I was used to being there was gone, causing me to misjudge the push and stumble. It is a lot of fish. Well, a lot of fishing. It's only been like 2 fish so far, maybe 3. I looked down to find myself in a white robe I didn't recognize. It was light and breezy, and it felt nice on my skin. It cleared the lake of trash. We can hope. Fishing. Lifting my arms up, the fabric made a pleasant rustling sound. Good luck, Ark. Maybe you'll catch a fish? My hair had also been let down, the braids undone, and all of it brushed. I gripped my right hand shut and loosened it again, repeating the action several times. It felt slightly warmer than the left, as if someone had been holding it while I slept. Ah, it's a good branch. Looking around, I realized where I was. It's his home. I'd been here about a month earlier, around the time of the Midsummer Festival, and the ceiling above me looked exactly the same as it did back then. Compared to the almost sickly sweet aroma of all the women in the brothel, it smelled almost earthly and rugged here, or earthy. That alone was enough to tell it was a man's home. What I didn't know, though, was why I was here. I'd woken up this morning feeling unwell, so I went to the graveyard to rest by the tree, but I couldn't remember anything after that. Oh, you're up. How are you feeling? There was another presence in the moonlit room. As I drew closer, its silhouette grew clearer. In the past, I would have braced myself at the sight of a man, no matter who, approaching me in the dark, but I was able to stay relatively calm now. The moon shining through the solitary window was the only source of light. Candles were a luxury most couldn't afford in the slums. Oh, apparently got a hype chest. Alright. Ah, that frog. Frog wow. There we go. That's true, you can tie a string to it and use it to fish more. Candles were oh yeah, I said that. And in the pale light, I could see his face twisted into a frown. Not an angry frown, though, one of concern. I learned to tell the two apart in the 2.5 years since we'd met, though I'd never admit to it. Gazing absently at him, a number of questions leapt to my mind. Had he brought me here? Had he watched over me the whole night? Had he been the one holding my hand? Would you care to explain what I'm doing here? But the question that actually made it out surprised even me with how callous it sounded. Hey, you need to learn how to show some goddamn gratitude. You're here because you decided to drag your dumb, sick ass to the graveyard and passed out there out of some stupid, misguided attempt to protect the girls at the brothel. Brought you to my place so you didn't die out there in the heat. I'll give you a hint. 2 words. Rhymes with thank you. I asked for your help. Christ, you couldn't be any more impossible if you tried. What happened to the girl from this afternoon? What? Nothing. Don't worry about it. I tilted my head in confusion, and he clenched his lips and averted his gaze. I hoped I hadn't said or done anything in the few hours I'd lost. A mix of worry and humiliation grappled inside me, pulling me back and forth between wanting to ask and not wanting to know anything. Anyway, but before I could make a decision for myself, he changed the subject. At least you've recovered enough to put that sharp tongue of yours back into action, he said with a smirk. I had no idea what to say. Clearly he had looked after me when I was unable to look after myself. For that he deserved thanks, but I couldn't actually put that into words. And even worse, I was afraid whatever I said next would only upset him more. You haven't eaten anything all day. You must be starving. I'm not. Before I could finish a sentence, though, my stomach let out a deep rumble. My eyes went wide, and I gave him a desperate look, then dropped my gaze to my hands. Couldn't believe that had happened. My stomach growling in hunger like an ordinary girl who hadn't eaten for like 24 hours. It was humiliating. I stared down at my clenched fist for what felt like an eternity, unable to bring myself to look up at him. When I heard a muffled snicker from above, I wanted to snap at him for laughing at me, but I couldn't even manage that. Come here. He grabbed a chair and placed it by the window. I knew it was only because that was the only source of light in the room, but I still was hesitant to step out of the darkness without a hood to cover my face. I could see so much more of the world than usual. Standing in the moonlight, he was illuminated from head to toe, and I could even make out the details of his face. He was smiling gently, not smirking or glaring or frowning as I'd expected. His eyes, the color of fallen leaves, narrowed just slightly. It's gotten into you. There's always a hint of derision in his smile. There's always a trace of contempt in his words. He was short-tempered and quick to shout. He was obsessed with the logic and always complaining about feelings. So why is he being so... none of that now? You're the worst. I hadn't done a thing wrong, and yet everything felt wrong. It wasn't playing fair for him to only be nice to me now. It was cowardly for him to only smile at me like that now. Kind of irritation I didn't know how to describe began pulling within me. Nothing was making sense anymore, and I didn't know who I could ask to explain it either. So it just built up and up and up, to the point that it was almost hard to breathe. To the point that I almost felt sick. You are sick. As unflattering as it was to describe my own feelings that way. But it scared me, not knowing what any of this was. Would I ever have an answer? Would I ever have a name for this feeling? Would the day ever come that I could feel comfort in it? Or would I even be me if I did? I certainly couldn't imagine myself there ever. That kind of confidence. Smiling like him. Being sociable like Maria or Jiren. He's just gonna sit there and stare off into space? Whatever. I always had my hood up and my head turned down, so I almost never had a chance to look at him so unobstructed. Which reminded me, how much older than me was he? Oh, how much older than me he was. He was an adult, and I was just a kid. He didn't have to look after me either, but he did for whatever reason. And who knew how long that would even last? He could very well go off and do something else with his life, somewhere far away before I figured anything out. So, I said. The thoughts just kept coming and coming, almost sending me into a panic. He frowned slightly, tilting his head. At every second I couldn't figure out what to say next, his frown deepened. But his patience never ran out. He stood there and waited. Which reminded me, once not long after we first met, when I still considered him a potential threat, he'd done the same thing. Waited for me to speak, despite not being a patient man at all. In 4 years... What? In 4 years, how old will you be? What, can't do the math yourself? Anyway, I'll be 26 4 years from now. 26. Hearing the number put into perspective exactly how far ahead of me he was. By then he could have a loving wife and children. And why wouldn't he? That was what people did at that phase of their lives. Yeah. Yep. In their 20s. Definitely, everyone. What will you be doing then? Hell if I know. What kind of question is that? I mean, I'd at least like to be done scraping by every day of my life then. Another 4 years of this is more than I can take. Oh, it's gotten into you, he said with a sigh. That's true. Back then, I would argue 26 is probably late. I turned up to face him. Words danced on the tip of my tongue. If you could just wait 1 year. If you could just stay here in this confined life you hated so much, not trying to go out into the world like you loved to talk about. Yeah, that's true. Sore, I feel ya. Just, add a 10 to that. But I feel ya. There's something irrationally scary about the number 40. And, I know it's just a year, it's just an age, it's just a time. I know that. There's still just something... There's something irrational about it, just shouting at me like, It's too late. It's too old. It's too everything. It's still 2 years off, and it's still terrifying to me. And it shouldn't be. 1 year was all I needed. That would be enough time to make sense of myself, to convince myself I was a regular girl like anyone else, and to figure out what on earth I actually felt about him. I knew I'd just be holding him back. Why should he care about accommodating the wishes of a hideous girl like me? But if he could just wait a year. Just 1 year. Morgana, all I had to do was say it, and it would take a huge weight off my shoulders. Oh yeah, that's fair. I'll still just be the same old Viper. Just a little more emphasis on the old, which was already getting emphasis. But I couldn't bring myself to put those thoughts into words. Not because I didn't want to, or because I was too embarrassed to, but because the act of asking for something still had so much weight for me. Excuse me. Are you feeling under the weather? Is that it? Perhaps so. Damn, then you want something light, I'm guessing. I got some fruit from the barmaid at the pub. He stepped over toward me, holding out his hand. So large and bony, nothing like my own hand. And in it he held an apple, which I accepted with both hands. He managed to get me new clothes and food, which I knew wasn't easy given our circumstances. And as much as he yelled about me thanking him, he never once tried to guilt me about everything he's done for me. Not him, nor the girls at the brothel. Don't get too generous. Don't get too generous, I said, carrying the apple to my mouth. I have no way of paying you back. My hope isn't an investment. I'm looking for returns on. You know that perfectly well. Or are you starting to feel guilty? That's cute, he said with a chuckle. Instead of replying, I bit into the apple. Its sweet juices filled my mouth. If you want to pay me back, just remember to say something nice over my grave. I know you got a soft spot for the dead. Sure. I giggled, holding the apple in front of my mouth so he couldn't see it. Apparently, he still remembered the time I told him, if you want me to be nice to you, go die. The truth was, I'd wanted to do something for him in life in return ever since before then. I hope you live a long life. That way I won't have to worry about showing you any kindness for many years. You're really against the idea of being nice to me, huh? He said, frowning. More than you could ever imagine. Christ have mercy. But alright, fine. I'll live a long life. So will you, and Maria, and Jiren, and that dumbass Gratien, and all our other friends. Alright. I handed the half-eaten apple back to him, guessing he hadn't eaten.
And I've become even more powerful.
Whew. Damn it, I forgot to add the... I was going to add the quote from Valkyria Chronicles. I'll have it before stream tomorrow. I totally spaced on it. It's been a busy weekend. It's such an easy thing to do, but I just spaced on it. Correct. That's funny no matter how old you are. I fully intended to do it right after that last stream with the cards, but then I got to sorting the cards and listing the cards, and time gets away. Guessing he hadn't eaten for almost as long as me, and after a few moments of hesitation, he accepted it. Loaded on carbs, yeah. Taking a large bite out of the untouched side. I watched quietly, some part of me certain that we would have many more occasions just like this. And the sweet taste of the apple still lingering in my mouth, I whispered, to a long life for all of us. This guy will become timeless, yes. It's already timeless, but that quote specifically, yes. The Ghost of Rose Manor. Hey there, ladies and gents, and everything in between. I'm your run-of-the-mill landscape painting, or you can call me Mr. Canvas. Today, I'd like to talk about my time with the Rhodes family. Back in the time of Hayden Rhodes, I hung in the first-floor drawing room. The old man was rather fond of me, if I do say so myself. This was the only piece of art left in the house when I bought it, he liked to tell everyone. But once that big troublemaker of a painter showed up and his work started to fill the house, things got a little disagreeable for me there. He was a trend chaser, and that didn't really suit my style. So before long, I got moved off to an out-of-the-way corridor, where I was subjected to some horrible mistreatment. I tremble in my frame thinking about that smarmy little child in her garishly frilly dress did to me that day. Of whom do I speak, you ask? Why, my great and terrible arch-nemesis, the young Nellie Rhodes, of course. Her brow furrowed and her lips pursed, the small one glowered at me for a few moments before saying, I've always hated this painting, it's so dreadfully old-fashioned. Can you believe the gall of this girl? She then lifted me off the wall and said, no one's going to miss this hideous thing anyway. Now, I consider myself to have a pretty good handle on my wits, but you can bet I was sweating like a pig over her trying to throw me away, which is when Nellie let out a little squeal and dropped me to the floor. Ew, it's all wet and gross. Oh, dearest Mel, I need your help. After a few moments, howling to herself, Nellie scampered off, leaving me all alone with no way to get up. And just as I was sure this would be the end of me, someone lifted me up off the floor. It was the white-haired girl. The soft touch of her hands made my heart skip a beat. And I mean, who wouldn't in my position? She looked so much like... Then, with a faint smile, she said, "Let's bring you somewhere safe," and carried me, wrapped in it tight in her arms, to the second floor. She seemed to know where all the best nooks and crannies in the house were tucked away. After hanging me up somewhere nice and out of the way, the white-haired girl said, "There, that should do it." I just couldn't bear to see such a lovely painting thrown away. What a sweetheart she was. Nellie could have stood to learn a thing or two from her. You look like a garden or perhaps a field somewhere. You're beautiful, and I'd love to see it in person someday. Oh, girl, you'd love nothing more than to take you... I'd have loved nothing more than to take you there myself. It was a lovely area for horseback riding, and the shade beneath the trees was perfect for a picnic. That's even where you... Oops, nope, wrong person. Seemed to have mixed the white-haired girl up with someone else. I let out a chuckle no one could hear, and as I watched her walk away, I said a little prayer. May your life be filled with joy. You hadn't been allowed to have that much, so I hoped that at least she, his spitting image, could. No. That was a really short one, but still. The Not So Little Mermaid. Yes, some of them have been really short. It's so hot here. I feel like I'm going to melt, Pauline said, flopping back on the ground beside me. She was having nothing but trouble on her search, and it seemed to be taking its toll. It looked like as scorchingly hot as it felt. The sun hung high in the clear blue sky, shining its light down on us and on the clear blue ocean before us. You're wearing 5 layers, and your hair's long as hell. What do you expect? Cut half of it off if you're so hot. Girl doesn't cut her hair on a whim, young man. Yeah, whatever you say, lady. She's more than a few years too old to be calling herself a girl, and I told her as much before, even if she still acted half her age. Never met another lady in her 20s that seemed so childish. Guess I'll just have to go for a swim. What? Turn around for a second, Yavi. Yavi? Yeah. Make sure no one comes this way, okay? Pauline said, undoing her top. What, you... Hey! I said, my voice cracking. It happened so suddenly, I barely had time to process, so I just did the only thing I could think of. Well, she told me to. You can look now. I can look my ass. Wanted to snap about 1,000 things at once. My irritation fizzled out at the sight of her playing in the water. Her feminine curves, less pronounced, but still distinct through the water. Her white, mostly untanned skin. Her long black hair bouncing in the waves. It was a lot for me to take in. Damn it. At best, I was like a little brother to her. And at only 14, I was most likely just a baby in her eyes. Stupid sheltered woman. You don't understand what guys are really like. Huh? Did you say something, Yavi? Nope. Just hearing things, doofus. Hold on. Didn't she say the man she was searching for was her lover? And maybe she really did understand guys better than I thought. Kind of pissed me off to think about. Ugh, I hate you, Pauline, I muttered under my breath. I'd still never called Pauline by her name to her face. Is that another really short one? Damn, alright. Maybe these are just like the last few of them or something. I don't know. I really don't know what these were in like release order or anything or how. The Maid and the Beast. As soon as I started learning how to talk, the human woman began bombarding me with questions. After we finished weeding a section of the garden and returning to the mansion, she would waste no time asking, "What do you like for supper?" followed quickly by, "How did you enjoy last night's supper?" And, "If I were to redecorate, is there any particular theme you would like me to adhere to?" But she didn't stop at queries of only questionable significance. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite season? What's your favorite number? What's your favorite flower? I understood what she asked, but I didn't react to most of it. Because if I did, she would latch onto me like a fly to a carcass, and I did not want to deal with that. Besides, even if I could speak the human tongue fluently, it wouldn't suddenly make me talkative. That just wasn't me. Not to mention, I would be wrong. It would be wrong for a beast and a human woman to be chatting together like friends. The human did not seem to comprehend my displays of disinterest, though. One day she handed me a stick of charcoal and a slab of wood, saying, "If words are too difficult, we can try pictures instead." Where had she even gotten these things? "First, try drawing me. This is only practice, so do not worry about making it perfect. Draw however you wish." I wanted to crush the charcoal, smash the wood against the ground, and get away, but she started talking again before I had the chance. "Sometime long ago, someone else painted a portrait of me as well. It was so very, very long ago, and sometimes I am unsure whether it was real or merely a dream jumbled up in my memories. But I remember how it felt, how anxious they were drawing, and how delighted I was for them to be drawing me. And sitting here with you feels like it brings me ever so slightly closer to the woman I was then." The human woman often speaks of events that happened centuries ago, so this was hardly unusual for her. "So please, would you draw me? You're doing so well to help to calm my spirits, if you would rather not speak." All the insistence in the world would not make a beast any more capable of creating art. I wanted to throw the stool against the wall and storm out of the room, but the look in her eyes stopped me. Her gaze was more tenuous than usual, as though the refusal would send her over the edge. I loathed it, so I took the charcoal in my unsteady hand. If her horrendous drawing from a horrendous beast would bring her back, then she would have her drawing. What I created, though, was nothing more than scratches of charcoal crudely imitating shapes. Hardly even resembled a child's doll, let alone her. Looking down on it with a soft laugh, the woman said, "It's beautiful." I knew very little about human woman, and I doubted that would ever change. But he made art? Question mark. Yeah, it would be cool to see what it was, what it looked like. Well, damn. We almost done. Easy peasy. Easiest stream of all time. Sisterhood of Secrets. Okay, I can't say the easiest stream of all time. If they were all voiced, it'd be the easiest stream of all time. One afternoon, a modest girls' get-together was held in the rose garden at the Rhodes estate. It was far from a friendly gathering, though, and its members hardly those one might expect to find sharing tea. Everything's a secret with you, isn't it? Is there anything you can tell me? Stuffing another freshly baked cookie into her mouth, the Rhodes' daughter Nellie glowered at the white-haired girl, who looked as though she wanted to disappear. "That's true, soon." Besides her, with an inscrutable smile on her face, sat the black-haired head Abigail, oft spoken of in whispers as the Witch of Rose Manor. "I'm truly sorry, Lady Nellie," said the white-haired girl, her gaze affixed on her hands clenched above her knees. "Under normal circumstances, two Abigails and a young noble lady of the house which they served would never be seen dining on the same table. Which only gives us one Sunday per month, roughly, Only at Nellie's insistence had they been brought together. Now, my lady, please be reasonable. Every girl has her secrets," said the head Abigail, her smile unwavering. Excuse me. She didn't look a day older than 20, but supposedly she had served in the house since Nellie's grandfather's time. "There's secrets, and there's not even being able to say what family you came from. Would your mother have brought her into this house if she posed any danger? Or do you not trust your mother's judgment, Nellie?" "I do, but still." "Then you needn't concern yourself with her." The head Abigail's smile remained firm, as though carved into her face. Nellie pouted, seemingly stripped of the energy to pursue the subject any further. So instead, she raised a new topic of conversation. "Okay, fine, let's talk about something that isn't a secret. Like, what is it in someone that makes your heart flutter?" Nellie leaned across the table, her face practically in the white-haired girl's. But the only response she received was downturned eyes and bitten lips. "Fine, you don't have to," said Nellie, turning towards that head Abigail. "But in her place, you do." It struck Nellie that in her entire life she had never heard so much as a whisper about this woman's private affairs. The head Abigail was rather pretty, though, which she imagined invited a man's advances quite often. "What makes my heart flutter, you ask? Let us see. I'm rather fond of pearly white skin, unusual ice colors, and ethereal... Pardon me, I must be going. The mistress needs my assistance. Good day," said the white-haired girl, scrambling from her chair and back towards the lampshade. To which the head Abigail gave a softly sinister laugh. "Does every woman in this house have some deep, dark secret?" thought Nellie. And it would not be long before she realized that she, too, could count herself among them. Even the short ones are still, fun little moments. Just little glimpses. And the last one. Yeah, it might be a little longer, yeah.
Yeah?
A cup of kindness. For you. Maria was lounging in the kitchen with some of the other maids after a long day, when out of the blue she was summoned into the hall by the master of the house. He shoved a paper bag branded with the name of an expensive restaurant into her hands, and the pieces fell into place. He'd gone out with the mistress today, and had apparently decided to bring a gift back. She poked at the bag, rustled it, shook it a bit, trying to guess what was inside, to no avail. Food, if I were to guess. What's in here? Like nuts or something? It's real heavy. Close. They're beans. Coffee beans, that is. Oh, she said. And then after a pause, I appreciate it, but you could have just given them to the head maid. Why would I do that? They're for you. Girls get suspicious if I suddenly start drinking expensive coffee, so you'd better off making it a gift to everyone. Last thing I want to deal with is a bunch of spiteful women. With a disappointed frown, Jacopo said, I'm sorry, I didn't think it through. Jeez, was the sky gonna fall tonight? Jacopo was never this meek. Must have been a pretty damn good day. A little while later, the rest of the maids had begun dispersing into their chambers. This time, the mistress came to visit. She was dressed in her nightwear, her hair down, her makeup removed, and she was just as preternaturally beautiful as ever. The white-haired girl could be dressed in rags, and she would still be prettier than most girls. Sorry to bother you so late, she said, fidgeting. There's something I wanted to talk to you about. What's up? I'm all ears. The white-haired girl let out a sigh of relief, smile spreading up across her lips. Well, by the time she finished, Maria was almost on the floor. Holy shit! What are you two, 12? She said, completely forgetting her manners. Evidently, the master and mistress, newlyweds though they were, had yet to bed together. Maria knew that they'd had a lot going on and hadn't managed to consummate the marriage on their wedding day, but still, there was no excuse for this. Not to mention, she's the one coming to me for advice. God, he's completely useless. Maria let out an exaggerated sigh, shaking her head, when she caught sight of the bag of coffee beans, which gave her an idea. Alright, how about this? I'll make you this great cup of coffee, and you take that, and a smirk spread across Maria's face as she imagined the look on Jacopo's the next morning. Oh, this is going to be good. The storm which would one day befall them was but a speck on the horizon, their hearts still free of darkness. The power of coffee, yes. Well, I guess we start Reincarnations then, because it's way too early to end the stream. It's early enough that we'll be able to give it its time. It's like, damn. Alright, well, tally-ho. Well, I'll be off then. It's so weird to hear it voiced. Alright.
最後の言葉というのはなかなか思いつかないものね。
I didn't think it would be so difficult to come up with parting words.
大丈夫だ。思ったことは言えばいい。
You can say whatever you'd like. The first thing that comes to mind is fine.
そう。じゃあ、あなたにもあの言葉にするわ。
Okay, then I'll say to you the same thing I said to
さよ
them.
うなら。あなたの魂ともう巡り合うこともないでしょう。
Didn't say his name. Farewell, Mikhail, till our souls cross paths once more in the boundless sphere of fate.
そうか。さようなら。
Farewell indeed.
でも、もしも
If,
もしもの話よ。
however,
もしも何億分の1という確率であなたともう一度出会えるようなことがあったら、
if by some infinitesimally low chance we do happen to meet
その
again,
時私と
would you
友達になってくれる？
be my friend?
モルガーナ。もちろん、私もそうでありたい。
Morgana, absolutely. I wouldn't want it any other way.
私性格は良くないわ。あの子みたいに優しくないし、また悪態をついてあなたを傷つけるわ。
It is really interesting that he's voiced by a deeper voice actor as well, because I definitely voiced him deeper before I knew anything about, and even though the game made sure to say that the voice was kind of not high, but, you know, not deep, kind of in the middle range. Not a nice person, you know. I'm nothing like the white-haired girl. Sure to be off-putting and rude, to cause you much grief and pain.
大丈夫。たとえ傷ついたとしても、
I guess it's not like the deepest voice or anything, but I would argue it's on like the
私は
deeper
弱
side.
くはない。
Don't worry, I'm resilient enough to handle a little pain without pulling away.
今の
You're
お
fine
前
as
の
you
まま
are.
で大丈夫だ。
You don't need to change.
だか
So
ら
let's meet up in our next lives.
次の
Become
世で
good friends. It does definitely sound familiar, and I'm sure it's somebody we've heard before. He specifically, I don't recognize Morgana off the top of my head, but
助けてくれ
is he Lucilius? He definitely sounds familiar. Like I recognize his voice, I just can't place it. Glad to have had you in my life, Mikhail, and thank you for everything. Ooh, animated.
あの時のことを今でも覚えている。
I still vividly remember that
死者の
moment.
集う蜃気楼の世界で
The vow we made in that
彼女と交わした
illusory
最後の
gathering
約束を
place of souls. That we'd be
次の世で
friends in
共
our
にな
next
ろうと
life.
交わした今私は
The life I now live,
魂
the
の記憶
memories
と生身
ingrained
の
in my
肉体を持っ
soul,
て
born into a new
次の
body
世
of
を生き
flesh.
ている。
Damn, oh, it's not back to back, it's the same stupid bot. Okay, cool. What? Love when they're banned, but they're just like, why would we delete the message?
私がこうして存在
The
してい
word
るのも
miracle can hardly begin to describe what it means for me to be here in this world again.
奇跡と
To have reunited
一
with
言で
Giselle.
くくるには大きすぎる。私はこう思っている。
That's true. It only shows like on stream, but not in chat. I believe that I'm here
モルガー
now
ナの
because
祈りがあ
Morgana
ったか
prayed
ら
for
ではない
Tapisa.
かと。あの時モルガ
She
ーナ
said
は
she
言っ
was
た。
neither a witch nor a saint
魔女
anymore,
でもなく聖
just
女で
an
もない。
ordinary, powerless
ただの
soul.
魂になって
She
しまっ
said
た
her
と。
wishes would not cause any more
だ
miracles.
から何を願っても奇跡は起きないと思う。と。けれど、
Yet a
実
miracle
際に
did
奇跡は
occur.
起きた。
My new life was
彼
Morgana's
女が起
final
こした最後
miracle.
の奇跡が私を生かしているのだ。しかし、
However, I have
その
still
モルガ
yet
ー
to
ナ
cross
とは
paths with her again.
まだ出会っていない。モルガーナ、
Morgana, where could you
お
be
前は
now?
今、
Are
ど
you
こに
somewhere
い
in
る
this
のだろ
vast world?
う。お前はこの世界に存在しているのだろうか。私はそうであ
I
ると
pray
願
that
い
you
たい。
are. By your prayers was I given life, and by my prayers may you as well.
私の願いも届いてほしい。友達になる
I
という
would
約
soon like to
束を
make good on my word and become your
果
friend.
たしたいんだ。
Reincarnation, Prologue. Late March.
確かこのバス停で待ち合わせのはずだったんだけ
The
ど。
combination of voice and like the
合ってるかしら？
anime style is very much Union is Pauline. Jeez. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check these after. Okay, let's see. This is the bus stop we were supposed to meet up, I think.
静かでいいと
This
こ
is
ろ
such
だ
a
わ。
lovely, peaceful area.
郊外といって
Not too
も
far outside the
そこ
city
まで
and
中
easy
心
to
地
get
から
around
離れてる
too.
わけじゃないし、移動も便利そう。ちょっと早く着きすぎちゃっ
Show
た
up
かし
too
ら。
early. I mean, I did
一
let
応
him
連
know I
絡
was
は
on
入
my
れておいた
way.
けど。なんか
I know it's the
今更
11th
だけど
hour here,
緊
but
張してきちゃ
I'm
ったわ。
starting to get butterflies. I'm
今日から
going to be living
私
here
ここへ
on
引っ
today
越し
4th.
て一緒に暮らすのよね。あんまり実感が湧
Everything's
かない
gone so
わ。
unbelievably
いろんな
smoothly.
こ
It
とがう
feels
まく
almost
運びすぎ
unreal,
て
like it's all a
夢
dream.
なんじゃないかって思うくらい。身だしなみ
Do
大
I
丈
look
夫よね。
alright? My hair's not a mess. My
髪の毛
skirt's all
跳ねて
straight
ない
and unwrinkled.
ス
My
カート
makeup
ほつれ
isn't
てない
smudged. I did
化粧
remember to
落ち
brush
て
my
ない
teeth, right?
あとは、
Oh, what else? What else? Morgana's VA is an Atelier character? Shocking. Truly. Truly, I never would have expected such a thing. Is Scarlet? Oh, okay, cool.
ジゼル、
Giselle.
ミシェル
Look, I know I've been saying it wrong the whole time, but when it's right there, it's just like... Eve from Soul Blade. Oh, really? Okay. That's pretty cool. Pay for my crimes? I refuse. I will never pay for my crimes. I will just commit harder. Eek, Mikhail. Committing harder. Because to not commit would be to admit wrongdoing. Why the squeal? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Trying that again. Good morning, Mikhail. And thank goodness, I'm at the right place. I've taken an impressive effort to miss the bus stop. Anyway, apologies for keeping you waiting. No, not at all. I actually did just arrive this time, so... Getting kind of flustered. Flustered over what? You're fidgeting like a small child. Tales of Grace's protege. Oh, see, I would never know because I play all the Tales of games in English. Awesome. But I know all of them in English instead, so I definitely wouldn't recognize. All I did was come down to meet you. Is there something wrong with my outfit? Which could make him JP Cloud. Interesting. Okay. Like, he really sounds familiar. I definitely know his voice from some places. No, it's nothing to do with you. Well, it is about you. They're not like that. It's just, I'm moving here. I'm going to be living with you. Just thinking about it makes me want to jump up and do a little dance. I don't even understand how you can be so calm. Turn it down a notch, Giselle, please. You're drawing attention. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. What will others think? That we're happy? How dare. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I know who you mean. He was strong as hell. The brother of the thief chick with the bow. Yeah. I think that's his name, but I know who you mean. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I'm not sure. The voice is definitely ringing bells. Mob Psycho. I think I watched it in Japanese, but that was a ways back. But okay. Okay. Hell yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do it, you may as well get good people, obviously. That doesn't mean I'm any less over the moon about it. Don't tell me you don't feel the same way, Mikhail. Of course. You're at my old place all the time. But though the way they say it in Japanese really does make it sound more like Michelle. Like, lot closer than what I would assume is more like Michael. But like the way they say it sounds way closer. To the point where like I feel like I'd have to hear them say both of them to distinguish a difference. Of course I'm thrilled. You're at my old place all the time before this. We practically live together already, so I can't say it really feels any different than usual. What? This is a huge occasion! Be more excited! You're making me feel like I'm the only one who cares. Demon Slayer, I haven't really watched. I've seen the Demon Slayer movie, the newest one. That's most of my Demon Slayer knowledge, yeah. It's just written phonetically. Yeah. That makes sense. Everything going to turn into a huge occasion. Can't imagine how she's going to react when it comes time for our wedding. I can be more excited if you want, though. I get the feeling you'd think something was wrong if I ran up pumping my fists and shouting, "Hell yeah!" Okay, good point. If you came in acting like that, I'd wonder if you had eaten something funny. Alright, just be yourself. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. I have been very much looking forward to this day. So what you're saying is... Anyway, I'm glad you're here. I have been very much looking forward to this day as well. I'm glad to be here too. So how far is it to our new place? Well, you're looking right at it. Oh, which building is it? That apartment building with the blue roof over there? Looks lovely. Oh, we know they're in an apartment building because we've seen that little extra bit from the other bits, yeah. Oh, no, not that one. I mean, right here. A 4-story building with all the ivy. But, like, we know they're in a building with multiple different, like, tenants in it. Right? Or they do end up that way, at least. Mikhail embraces the angel aesthetic, unleashes paradise lost. What? What?
大きすぎませんか？
Isn't that a bit gigantic? Isn't that a bit extravagant? Isn't that a bit, oh my heavens?
ミシェルのご両
What are
親
your
って
parents,
一体何者なんで
royalty?
すか？だって
How can they afford to just give you such a fancy apartment building and then go off and buy a new place for themselves?
これのどこがもの
In
すご
what
い
way
裕
does
福
that
って
not
も
count
の
as
でもないのですか？
extravagantly wealthy? Do they swim in a money vault too?
ジゼル、
Giselle,
もう
you're
少し
shouting
声を
again.
抑えて。
People are looking at us.
ご
I'm
めん
so
なさい。
sorry. I got a bit wound up there.
確かに、
Well, the
外観
building
は
does
立
look
派
quite
です
nice from the outside. It's
築
getting
年
rather
率は
creaky
かな
and
り
will
経
need
過
a
して
good
い
deal
る
of
ので、
fixing up.
それに、
Not to mention, my
両親も
parents just
相
inherited
続
the
が継い
property
でい
from
る
my
ようで、
grandparents. They're
何
not
者って
really
言わ
anything
れても、
special.
まあ、
And
な
they're
ので、
certainly not swimming in
もの
cash
すごい
now.
こんな資産を相続して
Can't
い
keep
る
a
時点
property
で
like this in the
もの
family
す
for
ごい裕
multiple
福だと思
generations
いま
without
すよ。
lots of money.
そ
Is
う
that
か。
actually the case? I'm not sure.
そういえば
But now that I
昔
think
から
about it, even back then, I've
土地
never
に
been
関しては
want for a
困った
roof
こ
over
と
my
が
head.
ま
Huh.
あ昔はそれ以
Things were
外
pretty
で
difficult
大
in
変
other
な目
ways,
に
though.
ねえミシェル、
Mikhail,
お金に物を
promise me
言
you
わせ
won't
て
go using your
愛
family's
人をは
riches
べ
to
ら
get
せた
yourself
り
a
しない
harem
で
of
くださいね。
concubines, okay? First thought, damn, parents must be loaded. Second thought, don't be buying too many bitches.
君は私を
What in
一体何
God's
だと思
name
ってい
kind
る
of
んだ
man do you think I am?
今
I'm
のは
just
冗
kidding.
談
I know
で
you
す。
would never do anything of the
ミシェ
sort.
ルはそん
Okay?
な、
冗談でもそう
I'd
いうこと
rather you
は言
didn't
わな
even
いでくだ
joke
さい
about that, please.
あのじ
あ、
Oh, right.
そうですよ
I'm sorry, I
ね。
wasn't thinking at all.
変なこと言ってごめんなさい。
Reminds me of my father. Okay, and you can.
Jordan
Okay, so if we
demo
find a
そういうことは
voice line we
言わ
want
ないで
to like capture, we can do that.
あの時
Okay.
代の父のような振る舞いは、私は
My heart
君一
belongs
筋
to
です
you
よ。
alone. I don't have to tell you that though. I don't care how obvious it is. I still love to hear you say it. You should do it more often. Keep it in mind, though. Maybe not in public so often. Okay. How about we get going then?
行きましょうか。
This way. Roughly a year after we were finally reunited, arrangements for the two of us to move into an apartment together on the outskirts of the city were finally complete. It was a well-weathered 4-story building passed down to me from my parents, but it was still rather nice for its age. In this day and age, having a guaranteed place to live seemed to be quite the advantage. In fact, my colleagues sometimes poked fun at me, saying I had it way too easy. And he never once thought to be like, maybe my family is wealthy. Couldn't help but chuckle when they did, although at least as far as the modern era was concerned, they weren't exactly wrong either. I didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs and coast through life on my good fortune, though. I kept myself nice and busy with work, and while I was generally more optimistic than in the past, anxiety about an uncertain future seemed to be hardwired into me. A coworker once asked, "Why do you work so hard when you've already got everything?" To which I obviously couldn't respond because my previous life taught me that nothing in this world is guaranteed, so I brushed the question off with a vague, "It's just the way I am." My inability to be complacent in anything in my own, even in my new life, was, in its own way, a challenge, but it had its benefits too. Knowing what I'd been through before helped me better appreciate what I had now, and knowing what life was like back then helped me understand exactly how easy things were now, and the obstacles I ran into felt trivial compared to back then.
中庭まであるわ。
Oh, there's even a courtyard. I wasn't expecting anything like this.
両親の話による
My
と、
parents tell me that
夏
people in
は
this
こ
area
の
quite
辺
like
りで
throwing
パー
parties
テ
and
ィーやら
barbecues
バー
and
ベキュー
such
を
when
する人
summertime
もいる
comes
そうですよ。
around. I mean, that's people in any area who doesn't like having barbecues. Okay.
ミシェルの口からバーベ
Something
キューなん
just
て単語が出てくると、
unbelievably
違
wrong
和
about
感
you
がす
saying the
ごく
word
て、逆に
barbecue.
心配になりますね。 ミシェルもするんです
What
か？
about you? Do you like to throw
Barbecue.
barbecues too, Mikhail?
まさか。
Hardly. What kind of madness would compel me to willingly subject myself to hours under the sun, standing over a hot grill, cooking meat, and engaging in small talk with people I hardly know? You could do it in the evening. I mean, it doesn't get rid of the rest of it, but it could get rid of the sun.
やっ
I
ぱ
should
り
have
そう
seen
な
that
んじゃ
one
ないです
coming.
あそこの扉は閉ま
What's
ってい
behind
る
the
よ
door
うで
there?
すけど、
It's too dark to see inside.
あ
Ah,
そこは
that. It's not being used for anything right
今
now.
は
I'm
使われ
planning
て
to
いな
have
い
it
ので
renovated
改
so I
装
can
が
rent
入
it
る
out
予
in the
定で
near
す。
future.
近いうちに1階も貸し部屋になるはずですよ。
そうなんですか。
I see. So there'll be
じゃあ、
even more
お部
rooms
屋がも
then.
っと増えるってことですね。
That's true. Just grill for
で
yourself.
も、 前は
Wonder what it
何に
used to
使
be
われてい
though.
た。お邪魔しまー
Thanks
す。
for having me.
ジゼル、
So,
お邪
you're
魔し
not a
ますは
guest.
別
You
にいら
live
ない
here
ですよ。
now.
そっか。
All
そう
right.
なんです
I
よ
do,
ね。
don't I? This place just feels
でも、
way too
こんな
luxurious
に
to be
広い部屋で
mine, you know?
君は
It's not
君で
that
貧乏症すぎない
extravagant. You
か。
act like you've never been in a building like this
さっきから
before.
驚きす
She
ぎているような。
probably has never been in a building like this before.
貴族の娘
Just
じ
a
ゃなく
run-of-the-mill
て、
commoner
昔
girl.
から
Always
一般
have
庶
been,
民の
always
娘
will
で、
be.
ミシェルみたいに
I
貴
haven't been
族度
all
高くないんで、
aristocratified
順応
like
するの
you.
に時
I'm
間が
going
か
to
かるん
take
です。
time for me to adjust. Aristocratified. Mm-hmm.
貴族度。
Aristocratified.
妙
Now
な
she's making
造
up
語を作られ
words.
てしまった。
それにしても、
This really is a lovely
本当
living
に
room,
素敵
though.
なリ
The
ビングで
windows
す
are
ね。
nice and big and let in tons
ベ
of
ラン
light.
ダも
And
広
you
い
have a
し、
spacious veranda
窓も
too.
大きくて、光。あの時の真っ
This
暗
is
な
like
お
a
屋敷
complete
と比べ
180
る
from
と
the dark,
びっ
dreary
くり
place
す
you
るく
had
らい
back
真
then.
逆です。
It's not musty.
カビの
I'm
匂
not
いも、
choking on
埃
dust,
の
and there
匂
aren't
いも、
even
腐った白
decomposing
人参もない
parsnips in the
わ。
corner. No
もう
boarding up
木
the
の板
windows
で
for
窓を
you
隠
this
しちゃダ
time.
メです。
だからあれ
I
は
wasn't the
私
one
が
who
やった
boarded
もの
them
で
up
は
in
な
the
いと。
first place. And if they
そ
weren't
れに、
covered, I probably would
今
have
の時
been
代でそ
down.
んなことをしていたら通報されるかもしれない。ともあれ、
But in any
気に
event,
入
I'm
ってもら
glad
え
you
たよう
like it.
でよかったです。
こんなに素敵なお部屋、
Anyone would love to
気
live
に
in
入
a
らない
place
人
as
なんてい
wonderful
ま
as
せん
this.
よ。
本当に嬉しそうだ。
She seems genuinely happy with it.
彼
And a
女が
smile
こ
like
う
this
して
is
笑ってくれ
infectious.
ている
I'm
と、
glad I took the time to
私
remodel
の
everything.
物件自体は譲渡
Property
された
itself
も
may
の
not
だ
have cost me anything, but
内
making
装
the
は
interior
古いま
not
まだ
look
ったし、
several decades old was
結
an
構大
arduous
変だったんだ。
process. I'll be keeping that part to
言わない
myself
けど。
though.
今回の部屋は散ら
You
かっ
keep
て
this
ないで
place
す
clean, I
ね。
see. I was worried I'd have to get to work
また
making this
片
place
付けから始
habitable
まったら
first thing again.
まあ、1
The
年
first
前
visit
は
a
家
year
に
ago
呼んだのも
was
急だったの
a
で、
bit unexpected,
今
but
回
I
は
had
時間
plenty
も
of
あった
time
の
to
で、
make sure things
き
were
ちん
ready
と
for
しよ
today.
う。でも、寝
The
室は
bedroom
ま
isn't
だ片
quite
付
as
いていない
pleasant
ん
a
です。
sight, though. I just stacked all your
先に届い
belongings
た
up in
君の
there
荷
for
物
you.
もほとんど
あ、
Oh,
あり
thank
がと
you.
うござい
You
ま
could have
す。
just left it at the
そこ
door
ら
and
辺
had
に
me bring
適
it
当
in, you
に
know?
ポポ置いて放置しておいて構わなかったのに。
そういうわけにはいかな
I
いでしょ。
mean, on a long enough timeline, all voice actors are Atelier characters. You know, I couldn't do that.
最初に開
But
封
I
した
will
箱が下
conveniently
着入
forget
れ
to
だった
mention
か
that the
ら
first box I opened
困惑
contained
して
her
何も
underwear, and I
手をつ
couldn't
けら
bring
れなか
myself
った
to
こと
unpack
も
anything after that.
言わないでおこう。
That is such a Mikhail thing. Open box, see underwear, blush redder than the painting on the wall, close box, leave. Well, I
じゃあ
suppose
早
we
速
should
荷
start
ほどきから
unpacking
始
then.
めようかしら。
ああ、でも、
That we should. Although, just so you know, I haven't had time to get a wardrobe or anything. The living room's all set up, but everything else is still buried.
ああ、そっ
Oh
か。
yeah, you were busy with a
引っ
big
越し前ま
project
で
just before the
忙しい
move.
プロジェクトに参加してましたもんね。あの時は毎日
You
目
must
の
have been
下に
pretty
クマを
swamped,
作ってい
judging
た
from the
し、
awful
大
bags
変
you had
そう
under
で
your
した。
eyes every time I saw you.
いや、ま
Part
あ、
of
そ
it,
れもある。
yes.
うん
好きなデザインとか
Mostly, I
もある
just
だろう
thought
と
you
思っ
might
たの
want to
で、
choose something you liked, and
一
that
緒に
maybe
探
we
した
could
方
go
が
out shopping for
いい
furniture
のか
together.
な。
Oh, of course, I would love that.
一緒
This
に
is so
探しましょう。
exciting.
こういうのってすごく楽しいですね。なんだかその
Feels almost like
し
we're
新
newlyweds.
婚みたいな
Or not, maybe.
なんちゃって。
そうかも
It
しれませ
does.
ん。というか、
Although I guess there's
Well,
nothing actually
何も
preventing us
障
from
害は
getting
ないのだ
married
し。
right now, is there?
ただ、
Well, that's not
そう
something
い
I
うの
just want
は
to throw
き
out
ち
there
んと準備
casually.
してから
I'm
行った
pretty
方
sure
が
she
いいだろ
feels
う
the
し、
same way.
引っ越しのつい
We
でで
moved in together, might as
じゃ
well
あ
get married
結
while
婚
we're
し
at
ま
it.
しょうか
Probably wouldn't go
と
over
いう
very
ような
well.
ものでは、いや、
What if I'm
私
overthinking
が
this
気
whole
負いす
thing,
ぎなの
though?
かもしれ
It's
ない。
Giselle. There's a good chance she'd be
ジゼル
happy no
は
matter
どん
the
な、
circumstances.
むしろ、
Not to mention,
指輪
it would
だ
be
と
out
か
of
花
character
束
for me
と
to
か
get on
持
my
ち出
knee,
して
pull
プ
out
ロ
a
ポーズす
bouquet
る
and
なん
ring,
て、
and propose to her beneath
私
the
た
moonlight.
状況にとらわ
I
れ
have a
て
bad
大
enough
切な
tendency
こ
to
とが
try to
言え
find
な
the
くなる
perfect
のは
moment to
悪
say
い癖
something,
だ。
only to never end up doing
Yes.
it. I should just quit thinking about it and do it right now.
そうと決まれば、
Anyway, we should get right on
早
that.
く家具を
Come
探
on,
しに行
Mikhail.
きまし
Let's
ょ
go
う。
furniture shopping.
あ、
Ah, coming. Ooh, there's so much
結
to
構
choose
回り
from,
ましたね。
しかし、
but still nothing
なか
that
なか
quite
決まりま
felt
せん。
right.
素敵なクロー
There's
ゼッ
so
ト
many
もたく
lovely
さんあった
wardrobes,
けど
but nothing that really
これ
shouted
から
we're
の人生
spending
を
our
共
whole
に過ご
life
すんだ。
together.
クローゼット一
Seems
つ
like a
に
bit
気合を入れ
much
す
weight
ぎ
to
で
put
は。
into a simple wardrobe.
でもカ
But
タ
I
ログ
did
は
get a
たく
bunch
さ
of
んもらいまし
catalogs,
た
so let's
し、
look at them later.
後でゆっ
We'll
くり
sit
見て
side
み
by
ましょ
side
う。
and flip through every page
一緒
together, one by one. is going to take all our furniture if we're going to these lengths for a simple wardrobe. Online shopping is also an option now, so we could always look for something nice that way. Maybe, but I enjoy wandering around different shops with you more. You can't build up a good attachment to your furniture by just clicking add to cart on some big internet store. It's better to see all your options in person and discuss what we think fits best. I'm not sure I see how there's a difference, though I do agree it was a rather enjoyable experience. That said, if we're doing this with anyone but Giselle, I'd have thrown in the towel and brought the thing online straight away. I've worked up an appetite from all that walking. You want to get lunch somewhere nearby while we're here? Yes, let's. There's a nice place not too far. You what? You can't just drop that on me out of nowhere, bitch. That was quite the shout. Someone in an argument, maybe? I get the strangest feeling I've heard that voice somewhere before. She's right. I recognize that voice too. Normally I'd prefer to get as far away from trouble as possible. Let's get a closer look. Modern day Maria. Yeah, you told me it was just a fun little thing you were doing when you gave me the job, but that doesn't mean you can just call me out of the blue and say you're shutting the damn place down. I can't just pull a new job out of my ass. I need time to find... Excuse me. I don't give a shit if you have a customer. Don't hang up. Maria continues to be the best. Son of a bitch, he actually hung up. God, I'm fuming. Here, I thought he was a decent guy, but nope, just made an ass out of myself. Freaking old fart. Don't open a damn restaurant if you're not serious about it. The hell's your problem? This ain't none of your business. Piss off. I didn't realize she was short. What? How do you know my name? Have we met somewhere? Have we met? We work together in the mansion. Huh? Mansion? I don't remember taking any housekeeping gigs. Thinking I started talking to her like I do with Mikhail, but I don't actually know if she remembers anything from before. Judging from her reaction, I don't think she does. You come by the cafe sometimes, maybe. I swear I'd remember a couple like you, though. You don't exactly blend into the crowd. It was! The cafe? The cafe was really busy that day, so you probably didn't notice us. Excuse me? That hole in the wall hasn't been busy once this whole damn year. Little busters? Oh, nifty. Okay. Let's see. Oh. Cute. No protagonist romance. Oh, well, then I guess, yeah, I must have mistaken you for someone else. Someone who looks like me and has the same name. I got a fucking doppelganger. This started to remind me of my encounter with Mel. I should throw her a line. Never mind us. Is something the matter? You were making quite the racket. Not really something I should go yapping to strangers on the street, but fuck it. I'm in the mood to let off some steam. I'm pretty sure everyone on the street already heard. The asshole owner of the cafe where I work decided he was shutting the place down out of the blue. Can you believe that? Excuse me. Really? He's just closing down the shop today? That's terrible. Doesn't he know anything about labor laws? Labor laws? Go straight for the book, huh, lady? If you can't get through to them with words, what other choice do you have? I mean, sure, if I wanted to, I could take it to court, I guess, but honestly, I don't think I'd give enough of them crap. Maria, I know, wouldn't back off with her tail between her legs. Maria, you know? You mean my doppelganger? Anyway, I am planning to give him peace of my mind. I'm gonna shoot him. But the job was never going to be a permanent thing, and I was thinking about looking for something new soon anyway. So it was really just a matter of time. That doesn't mean he can just call me out of the blue and say, yeah, I'm shuttering the operation today, find something new, and expect me to not get pissed about it, you know? Give me some advance warning, asshole. I need time to start looking for something new. You may not have anything on the line here, but I got my whole damn life. So, while I'm not giving him a taste of the law, I am going to give him a taste of my fists. Which is likely to get you involved with the law regardless. I feel a bit better now after venting to you. Not that anything's actually any better. It's quite the pickle. I wish there was something I could do to help, but I don't have any leads. If you find yourself without a roof over your head, please let us know. I manage an apartment building on the edge of town. Oh yeah? What are you guys, like con artists or something? Why would you think that? We're offering you this from the goodness of our hearts. The goodness of our hearts. Snowball's chance in hell you are. No one will offer a freaking apartment to someone they just met in the damn streets. We just feel like it was destiny that brought us together. You're totally con artist, lady. Either that or you're trying to trick me into joining some shady cult. The cult of the house in Fata Morgana. I swear, we just want to help, nothing more. I realize you're skeptical. That's perfectly understandable. We are genuinely concerned after hearing what you're going through, but we have no intention of forcing anything on you. I know it doesn't prove I'm telling the truth, but here's my business card. Hopefully it will at least help to put your mind at ease. Wow, you're not fumbling through a social interaction for once. Normally, I'm the one who has to get you out of your own messes. That was how many hundreds of years ago? You can get business cards to say whatever the hell you want, but whatever. Sure, I'll take it. There is still a chance you're just stupidly friendly strangers and not trying to rob me blind. I don't know about that either, but I can at least promise you we mean you no harm. Well, I'll just have to take your word for it. Thanks for the card. You might hear from me if I find myself neck deep in some real shit. You can call us before it gets that bad too. Don't hesitate. Sure, you really are pushy about this, lady. Just being friendly. Maria has a tendency to run wild when things get too bad, and I'd rather not see that happen to her again. She also likes to collect sharp things. I'll take a chance on your not being con artist and give you my card too. Of course, it's outdated now that I'm out of job. You can text or call or whatever if you need me for something. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, gotta go give that cock stain a tongue lashing. Thanks for hearing this poor stranger out. Oh no, don't mention it. I only ask that you not do something to get the police called on you. Don't worry, I won't. Probably. Anyway, I'm out. Who knows? Maybe we'll see each other again. I definitely won't call you from prison. Maria's the last person I expected to run into today. Wow. Caught me completely off guard as well, though it appears she doesn't remember us. Yeah, guess that's how it's supposed to be for normal people, but I'm still kind of sad. Even if she did have those memories, I never actually met her in life. I almost prefer this to the alternative, where she recognizes Giselle but not me. You okay, Mikhail? You're spacing out there. I'm fine, yeah. I was just thinking that even if she did remember you, it would only be you as the maid, not as you are now. You're absolutely right. She still hasn't apologized for calling me a creep. That is not what he was trying to say at all, but okay, that's fine. There we go. You still haven't let that one go? If Maria's here, I wonder if that means everyone else is too. It's certainly possible. Maybe you will get your wish of having that 1,000-year class reunion. Imagine what a sight that would be if they were brought together again without the power of the curse. Maybe their relationships wouldn't have to end in tragedy. Certainly hope so. I don't want anything like that to happen ever again. Nell turns out to be a sister-in-law, and she takes, just, that's the only thing that changes in their relationship. And if they do all come together, will you be there with everyone else? Or is the white-haired girl correct in saying that your soul is no longer able to take human form? Morgana. Morgana. They end up being like fifth cousins twice removed. Something so distant that it just doesn't even matter. I don't know how far out in cousindom it matters or not, but I feel like I don't even know a second cousin in my family. Like, I only really know my cousins. Anything past that, I don't even know who they are. We had memories of the distant past, not merely of when we were children, but of our previous lives, of our time in the period known as the Middle Ages, of a cursed mansion that wandered the earth across centuries. Of a time beyond time, where my soul bore witness to numerous tragedies centered upon that mansion, and of my encounters with the souls bound together by the threads of its curse. But ever since reuniting with Giselle in this era, those memories had begun fading away, or perhaps they were simply filed away with other memories I had little need to dig up anymore. A small part of me was saddened by that fact, as it felt like I was letting go of an important part of myself, but I chose to view it in a positive light. That I had come to terms with everything that had happened. The most important thing to me now was to live my life alongside her. As the older memories faded, they made room for new ones, and we had many, many years of new memories ahead of us, so I settled on leaving the past in the past, to focus on building up my new relationships. And I didn't regret that decision. I had loving parents and friendly, easygoing coworkers, neither of which I'd had in my previous life. Hatred and animosity were no longer constant fixtures in my life. I couldn't say my life had been entirely ridden of fears and anxieties, though. There was still the issue of deciding who I was. What I wanted to be. But I'd reached a conclusion on that as well. My body, the source of so much pain and suffering, the cause of great tragedy and something I'd been conditioned to be ashamed of, was now simply a part of who I was, and not the cause for any sort of concern. Which is to say, I was free. With this newfound life of my own, I felt no need to cross paths with those from my past life, and could instead focus upon forging my own path. If they even were here in the same era, they too had their own lives, and that was the proper order of things. Nevertheless, it seemed the threads of fate were not so easy to untangle, and our chance encounter with Maria felt like a snowball beginning a roll down a hill. We talked at length about our past lives, both on the way home and as we ate supper. All it took was one little thing to break the dam holding back our memories. Most of my time in that mansion was, frankly, miserable. There were things that made me sick just thinking about them. Not everything in my life had been clearly wrapped up, nor had I let go of all my grudges against those who had hurt me, but I also understood that this pain had helped to mold me into the man I was now, so I couldn't simply categorize all those memories as unequivocally bad. While I could hardly say I valued them, I did feel like they were important to who I was, and I hoped that if Morgana was in this world as well, and if she had all her past memories like the two of us, that they were not merely a source of pain for her. While our memories allowed us to move forward, it was just as likely hers would have the opposite effect. So for this girl whose existence I couldn't even be sure of, I prayed that her past would not become her ball and chain. That night I had a strange dream. My view was hazy and I couldn't tell where or even when I was. My feet weren't on the ground. It seemed I didn't exist in that place at all. It felt as though I was looking down upon someone, and as though I was lurking within them. As though I was part of the world itself. A voice crying in despair, tears rolling down cheeks, slouched shoulders, near but forever out of reach. It wasn't unlike the dreamlike worlds I had traversed countless years ago, a powerless observer of events long past.
ねえ、ミ
Kale,
シェル、
when you set me free,
あな
it
た
was
は
the witch
確
you
かに
released,
私を
not the
解放
girl.
してくれたわ。私の認識を
Pulling
覆
back
し
the
た
curtain was
最
enough to
後
stop me
の
from
事
being a
実は、
witch.
人を呪
But
え
what
な
lay
くな
behind
っ
that
たた
curtain
だの
is just a
少女
source
に
of
は、
new pain for the powerless girl I've
新
become.
たな苦しみでしかないの。
その声は
Is that you,
Morgana.
Morgana? Where are you?
辺りが薄暗く
It's
て
so dark. I
よく
can't
見
make
え
anything
ない。
out. Your voice is so
まるで
distant.
分厚い壁が存在するみたいにお前の声
Like
が
there's a giant wall
Toin
between
da.
us.
ねえ、ミシ
Kale,
ェル、
Will you offer salvation to this powerless
た
girl
だ
as
の
well?
少女になってしまった私のことも、私の手を
Will you take my hand once
もう
again?
一度。
モルガーナ、私が
I
あの
thought that
館を
breaking
解
the
放した
mansion's
ことは
curse and releasing everyone would
全てを
provide
救う
everyone
道だ
trapped
と思
within
っ
its
て、全
salvation.
てを良くするた
I
めの
believe
方
doing so
法だ
would
と
make
思ってい
everything
たが、
better, and I still
そ
stand
の
by
思い
that
にしてあ
much.
の館を
Nothing good would have come from
終わり
leaving
の
the
ない
mansion
憎
to
しみ
rot
と
away
呪
in
いば
its
かりが
curse
詰
for
まった世
eternity.
界をそのままにしておくわけにはいかなかった。けれど、
But if, by
もし
doing
もそ
so,
の
I have
結果を
caused you even more pain,
私はお前を
then I
助け
want
た
to
いし、
find you and do what I
見
can
つ
to
け出
help.
したい。けれど、
Just not sure if
本
that's the
当
right
にそ
thing
れ
to
で
do.
いいのだろう
If
か。
offering you my hand
お
once
前の
more
生き方は
will actually provide you the
本
relief
当
you
に
need.
楽になるのだろうか。いつも通りの朝だ。
It's a morning like any other, albeit a little
Yeah.
more lively and smelling a bit nicer. Ah, good
おは
morning,
ようござい
Mikhail.
ます、
Breakfast
ミ
is
シェル。
ready and waiting.
もう
おはよう、
Good
ジゼ
morning,
ル。
Giselle. You're
早いで
rather
すね。
early. You could have
起こして
woken
くれ
me.
てよかったのに。それに、全部
I'm
やっ
more
て
than
もらわなく
happy.
ても、私だって
I'm
手
more
伝い
than
ますよ。
happy help too.
昔と違って生活能力はあるんで
Unlike
す
my
から。
previous life, I can handle most day-to-day
一応。
tasks well enough, so don't feel like you have to do everything.
いつも卵を焦が
Get
すよう
back
な
to me
人
when you
に
can cook an
生
egg
活能
without
力があるっ
burning
て言わ
it.
れたくないです。それに今日は作
Anyway,
りたい気
I
分
was
だ
in
っ
a
たんで
cooking
す。
mood today. I like
料理
making
は趣
things,
味
so
で
I
も
don't
ある
mind
ん
at
で
all. Now,
気
do you
にしない
seats
で
with
くだ
you?
さいな。はい。
Oh
席に座
yeah,
って
no, absolutely. It's look, I'm not a great chef, but I can cook eggs without burning them. Pretty easily, actually. Admittedly, most of my eggs are scrambled, but like, it's not that hard to not burn an egg. Like the bar is low. And I'm not saying my eggs are god tier best eggs you've ever had in your life, but I am saying they won't be burnt. It's not that hard.
じゃあ、お言葉に甘えます。ありがとう。
Well, if you insist, thank you.
いえいえ。
No, not at all. Ah,
ん
what kind of herbal tea would you like to start your day with? I have some
お目覚めのハーブ
wonderful
ティーは
chamomile
何にな
leaves
さいま
if
す？
you would like.
カモミールの葉なら良いものを仕入れておりますわ。
ああ。あ
Water?
あ。じゃあ、
Please?
水で。
Water? You couldn't even play along for one exchange.
彼女は時
It's
折
kind
女
of
中ごっ
charming
こ
how
を
she
やる
likes
ん
to
だ
play
よ
at being the maid from time to time, but
可愛
it's
いけど。
difficult to know how to react.
あと、
Besides,
う
we
ち
don't
に
have
は
any
カモミ
chamomile.
はい、どうぞ。
Here's your
水
water,
です。
straight from the
蛇
faucet.
口を
How
ひねるだけなんて
dreadfully
つまらなさ
dull.
すぎるわ。
そんなところ
Real
で
mayo
不満を
scrambled
漏らされても、
eggs. It is to me, but to each their own. Same character designer. Oh, okay, got you. That's nifty. Not sure what to tell you about that.
やっぱり千年女
After
中
being
さ
the
んを
maid
した
for
身として
1,000 years,
は
I could
あれこれ
urge
世
to
話を焼き
serve.
たくなるんです。ところで
Also,
勘違い
maybe
だ
it's
った
in my
らいいんですけ
imagination,
ど
but you're looking a
ち
little
ょっ
under
と
the
顔
weather.
色悪くないですか？
Well, I just don't
So
like
it's gonna-
mayo already,
眠
so
りが浅かった
that's
か
the
ら
thing.
寝不足になっている
Even
だ
if
け
it
かも
ends
し
up
れま
being
せん。
good, it's just not for me. Like, cool. I'm glad that worked out for you. I'm not gonna risk ruining an egg meal for myself. I'll be fine. I like the eggs I got. What? I am? I guess I slept pretty lightly last night, so I am a little tired.
私
What happened? I
隣
didn't
で
roll
何
over
か
and
しちゃい
kick you
ま
in
し
the
た？
face or something, did
す
I?
ごい寝相で蹴り
If
飛
you
ばしちゃっ
can
たの
roll
か？
over and kick the person you're sleeping next to in the face, you are either sleeping weird or flexible beyond belief.
君の寝相がいいこ
You're
と
a
は
very sound
昔から
sleeper,
知ってい
as I
ます
learned
か
in our
ら、
previous life, but no,
そうでは
I
な
had a
く、
rather
ちょっと
peculiar dream.
気にな、
夢です
What
か？
kind of dream?
え
It was about Morgana.
彼女。
She was pleading for help.
うん
え。いや、
It was probably just a
ただの夢
dream.
だと
I
は思い
presume it
ま
was
す。
brought on by our encounter with
昨
Maria
日マ
yesterday,
リアに会ったか
which
ら
my subconscious then
彼女を
connected to
連想
Morgana.
そう
I
で
don't
しょう
know.
か。
Dreams like that usually have meaning, I
こ
feel.
正夢だったら大
Could
変
be
な
a
ことだわ。
premonition and she's in trouble, or maybe it's a sign of some
仮に
sort.
まさ
夢の話
You
なの
certainly
に、
are taking this dream
そこま
quite
で信じ
seriously.
当然です。
Of course I am. It's
だって
your dream we're
ミシェ
talking
ルが
about
見
here.
た夢
If
なん
you
です。
saw her, that has
そ
to
こ
mean
に
something.
本当に何で
And
も
if
な
it
い
turns out
夢
to
な
be
ら
nothing, then it's
そ
nothing.
れは
Then
そ
we
れ
can
で
have a little laugh
何
about
で
the
も
whole
なかっ
thing.
たねって笑えばいいだけです。 その夢の
But
通りな
assuming
ら
the dream is a
彼女も
premonition,
この世
it
界
means
にい
she's
て
alive now too, and she's
そして
going through tough times.
だったら
We
見
have
つけ
to
出
find
し
her
て
and help her
そ
助け
through
て
it.
う。
You're right.
何か
Did anything
他に
else
も
about the
気に
dream
なるこ
stick
と
out
が
to
ある
you?
んで
いや、
I'm not
う
sure
ま
how to
く説明
articulate
が
it,
で
but
きないんですが、
the dream was very hazy.
あれは
I'm not even certain it was based on the
今の-
present.
え
Huh? What do you mean?
昔、
Do you remember when the two of us
君と
attempted to
歴史を
change the
変えよう。
past?
はい
Of course I remember it
もちろん覚えて
vividly.
いま
The
すよ。
world we went into was a recreation of the
あの時代は
past as opposed to the
本当の
real
歴
thing.
でも
But your
あの
hard
時
work
の
there
ミシェルの
convinced
頑張り
everyone
が
to be better. And
み
you
んな
even
の
managed
思い
to
を
clear
変
up
えて
Morgana's
そ
misconceptions.
れは間違いのな
No
い
one
こと
can
だ
deny
わ
that.
それで
So what about it?
その時も
One night while we were
一度
there,
だ
I
け
had a dream in which I
夢
encountered
の中で
Morgana.
モルガーナと
Not
会っ
as a
たこと
witch,
がある
but when she was still alive
魔
as
女
a
ではな
saint.
く、つまり
It was a dream of a time no
Mo sweet.
longer.
昨晩見た
Do you
夢
think
も
last night's dream was the same sort of thing?
ええ、感覚
Nope,
的には
similar, yes. So even if
だ
she
か
is having
ら、もし
difficulties,
も
it
彼
may
女
very
が
well
何か
be
に
from
困ってい
another
たとして
time.
も、それが今の私にできることは
Alright.
ないのかもしれない。
Who would have thought all the VAs connected? Doing other good things. Which would mean there's nothing I can do to help.
うん
それに、
To say nothing of the fact we don't even know where she is.
彼
So
女
while
がど
it's
こにいるのか
curious,
も
I
わか
don't
らな
think
いん
there's
だ。
much to be gained in worrying ourselves to death
モ
over.
ルガーナの似顔絵を
We
描
could
い
sketch
て
a picture of her and put up missing posters.
そんな、
Make it sound like she's a
迷子の
lost
猫。
cat.
うーん
But we wouldn't have a good
でも、
answer for anyone who wanted to
確か
know
に
what our
関係性
relation
を
to
問い
her
ただされ
was.
前世の関
We
係者
know
で
he
す
knew her in a past
とか言っ
life
て
would
も
get the cops calling
十
us
中八
9 times
九
out
変
of
質者に
10.
されちゃいますよね
I would argue 10 times out of 10.
できる限りのこと
We'll do
は
what
し
we
てみ
can.
ましょう。
Besides, I
それに、
expect we will cross
私
paths
たちの
again,
縁が途絶えて
assuming
い
our
ない
fates
の
have
なら、
not been permanently rent.
そうですよ
Absolutely. We ran into
マリー
Maria
アさんに
after
ば
all.
ったり
There's
出
no
会った
reason
ん
to
です
believe she'll be the only one.
その時
And if we
あ
do
の子
meet
が何
Morgana
か
and
に
she's
苦
having
しんでい
troubles
た
of
ら
some kind,
全力で
we'll do
助けてあ
everything
げ
we
まし
can
ょう
to
ね
help her through it.
そうですね。
Yes, we will.
やっぱり、お
Suppose
人
there's
よし
not
と
much
言わ
room
れ
for
て
us to
も
refute
否
that
定できない
stupidly
かもしれ
friendly
ない。
accusation, is there?
彼
Morgana
女
was
の
in
女中としての
large
長
part
い悲劇
responsible
は、
for Giselle's
モル
century-long
ガーナも
tragedy.
ジゼルがモ
But
ル
she
ガーナ
holds
を
no
恨む
grudge
ど
over
ころ
that,
か、
and even
助けよう
actively
としてい
seeks to
る。
offer her a helping hand. This isn't the first time either.
どうしたんですか
What are you laughing about? I
何
didn't
か
say
を
anything
笑うよ
funny, did I?
ああ、いや、た
Nothing.
だ
I、was just thinking about how
君
blessed I
の
am
こ
to
と
have
を好き
fallen
に
in
なっ
love with
て、
you. Huh? Oh, where did that come from?
昔も今
You've
も、
always been such a brilliant
君に
light
は
in my
本当に
life,
救
both
われ
this
てい
one
る。
and the last.
そ
You can't just pull that on me first thing in the
そんな言われて
morning.
も
Also,
反応に
you're the
困り
same
ま
to
す
me, so...
まあ
Jeez, now breakfast's all
朝食が
cold. Come on,
す
let's
っかり
hurry
冷めちゃいま
before it
し
gets
た
any worse.
好意を示してくれ
She
てい
asks me
る
to
くせに、
express my love
いざ
more
示した
often,
ら
but
こう
whenever I
なる
do,
ん
it
だ
always ends
な。
up like this.
そういえば、
On a somewhat
これか
related
ら
note,
どうし
do you
てい
have
きた
any
いか、
particular desire
希
moving
望はあり
forward?
ますか？
これからですか
Well, First, I'd like to get the rest of the
まずは
furniture we
家
need.
具を
After
全部
that,
揃えて
the spice
調味
cabinet
料
is
が足
looking
り
a
ない
little
から
lonely.
あ、いや、そういうこ
No,
と
I
で
didn't
は
mean
な
the
く、
immediate future, but
も
more
っと
long
長い
term.
目
I'm
で、
curious if you have an image of what you want to do now that you're free from the stress of university life.
どうやって、
月並みな返答ですけど
I know it sounds cheesy, but I'd be happy with any
どんな
kind of life
形で
as
も
long as it's
私
with
は
you,
幸せ
Mikhail.
です
そうですか。
I see.
でも
But well, if we're talking about
そうですね。
dreams, then I think I've told you this
将来の
before, but I
夢
want to
って
open a
ところ
shop
だ
one
と
day.
具体的なとこ
I
ろな
haven't
ん
thought
て
about any
全
specifics
然
yet,
考
though.
えてない大学では
I
経
studied
済の勉
economics in
強をし
school,
たけ
but
ど
I'm not really interested
お
in
金を
big
大きく
businesses
動かし
like that.
そうですね
I
地
like to
域に
do
密着
something
で
more
きるよう
modest,
な
like a
個人
local
店み
family
たいな
store or
のを目
something.
指したい勉強した
So
の
my
と
degree
は
is not
方
going
向
to be
性が
much
違
use,
っ
as
ちゃ
it
うけ
turns
ど
out.
とりあえず
My first step, I think,
どん
is
な
to
もの
find
でも
some
対
place
応
that
で
will
きるよう
hire
に
me, so I
まず
can
は
get the
雇って
experience
も
to
らえる
handle
ところ
whatever
を
may
探
come
さ
my
ないと
way.
ってマリアさんの
And after
話を
seeing
聞い
what
ちゃっ
Maria
たか
went
ら
through, I know I can't
働
just
き
take
口
the
も
first thing
慎
that
重に
falls into
探
my
さな
lap.
きゃ
お店
A shop.
か。
A shop.
どうかしたんで
What's
す
on your
か
mind?
あ、いえ、今は気
I'll
に
let
し
you
ない
know
でくだ
after
さい。
it's had time to simmer. humor.
うん
Oh,
もし
is
か
it
して
perhaps that you'd prefer to have a
働きに出ない
stay-at-home
で
partner?
家
まさ
Oh,
か。
heavens no. Everyone should be able to do
やりたい
what they
ことをや
want
る
with
の
their
が
life.
一番
I
ですよ。
never would have brought it up if I
So-
felt otherwise. True,
ですよ
true.
ね。
Although even if you had said
で
no,
も
I
も
am
し
this
ミシェル
house's
が
breadwinner,
君は
I
専
probably
業
would
に
have
なる
fought
の
you
だ
on
っ
it.
て言ってきたとしても今は何の不
We
自
may
由
have
も
the
な
whole
い生
world at our
活ができて
fingertips
い
in
て
this
も
era, but no
長
search
い人
engine can
生
predict the
何
future.
がミシェルに何かあった
And
時
if ever the time comes,
支
I
え
need to
る
be
の
able
は
to
私の
support you.
役目
しっかりしている人だな。
She has her act together much
Watashi
better than
よりも
me.
一緒に楽し
Let's
くや
make
っ
the
てい
most
き
of
ましょう
every day
ね
we have together, okay?
え
Yes, absolutely.
え、そうですね。
Yeah, but none of her experience was in shopkeeping. Like, she has a lot of memories of being a maid. I'm sure she could be a fantastic housekeeper, but she did come from a merchant family, that's true. Then you'd think that would help her, but the fantasy of a family only needing one person to make enough income. Yeah, especially when they already come from wealthy parents and are just gifted a giant house / apartment complex. Casually. We spent the day hunting for furniture, as we had the previous. It was challenging, but eventually we found a wardrobe that felt right. Like, legitimately, even just simply not having to pay rent, and I don't pay a huge amount of rent because I'm living in a room with friends, but even just simply not having to pay rent would be a huge financial burden off the shoulders of anyone I know at all. So, you know, the game is now, yeah, it's a smidge different, you know. We brought dishes, toiletries, and a number of other daily necessities. With everything in its place, our new apartment finally started to feel like a real home. Once we made it past the hurdle of actually moving in, life quickly settled back into its uneventful routine. The fact that it had been a full year since we were reunited made it easier to smoothly transition to normal everyday life. Time trekked onward, my days busy but largely unremarkable, and with no further unusual dreams to interrupt them. Excuse me. And then before I realized it, a week had come and gone. That afternoon, I led Giselle out to the apartment building's courtyard, and then I made her a proposition, the idea I had hesitated to bring up a week earlier. What? What? You can't be serious! Giselle, take it down a notch. You're gonna disturb the other residents. No, I'm sorry, but I need an explanation. What do you mean, do I want to try running a cafe? Her face was practically pressed up against mine, and there was a blaze in her widening eyes. This was about how I had expected her to react. The question had both come seemingly out of nowhere, and it was a decision with large-scale and long-term ramifications. I wasn't asking her if she wanted to work at a cafe, but if she wanted to open one of her own. Ah, yes, a maid cafe. No, see, this is the Nekopara half of the Fear and Hunger Nekopara game. We've survived the Fear and Hunger part, now we're hitting the Nekopara part. It all checks out. The unused space on the ground floor that Giselle had asked about on her first day here had in fact used to be a cafe run by an elderly couple. Evidently, it got to be too much work for them to physically handle at their age, and they shut down shop, leaving the space unused for some years. Among other reasons, the furnishings and equipment were old and needed replacing, so no one stepped in to take over the business. The fact that the property was on the edge of town rather than the heart of the city also kept a lot of prospective replacements away. Though the biggest reason was no one had been actively advertising the space's availability. Not that I thought a for rent sign over the window would even bring anyone in, but nonetheless, it felt like a waste to leave the space unused. So I had originally been planning to renovate it into another apartment, and as the owner of the property, consolidating it all would make my life much easier. However, if Giselle was interested in using the space to run her own cafe, all that went out the window. Everything was still in the planning phase, so I could change course readily enough. I had enough savings to cover the purchase of new equipment. My parents would also likely try to help, but knowing us, Giselle and I would probably want to handle everything ourselves. But even after explaining everything, Giselle seemed far more perplexed than pleased. I'm thrilled about the offer, genuinely so. It's just owning a shop was more of a fantasy than anything, and I've never actually given it any serious thought. But most importantly, I don't have any experience. I've done some part-time work, but that's it. I'm not even remotely qualified to run my own cafe. The secret is, most people aren't even remotely qualified to do the job they do. At least not when they start it. Though for a lot of people, that continues long after that point. I just got out of university. That much responsibility would steamroll me. I hesitated to bring it up because I was fairly certain your reaction would be just that. And I do agree with you that experience is vital to embarking on an endeavor such as this. And why did you ask? Because on second thought, I remembered you had a great deal of experience already. What? I don't recall having any real work experience. Not presently, no. As you said, you're a young woman fresh out of university, but there's more to your story.
昔の君が
You
生
were
ま
in
れ
the
育ったの
past
も
the
証
daughter
券
of
だ
a
ったはずだ
merchant,
し、
and I'm certain you'll be able to draw from your experiences and your many, many years as the maid as well.
でも
But this is
やっ
nothing
ぱり
like
状
that.
況が
Working
全
in a
然違
mansion
い
and
ます
working
よ
in a restaurant are two
女中
completely
さん
different
のお
skill
仕事
sets.
とお店のお仕
Not
事はまるっ
if
き
it's
り
a
別物
maid.
です
I know we
っ
already
て
made the joke, but like, it would be great to hear him say it.
確かに違う仕
The
事
work
で
is
すし、
certainly not the same,
時代も
and
状況
times
も
have
違いますけ
changed,
ど、
but I don't think the skill
まるっ
sets are
きり別という
necessarily
わけでも
that
ないでしょう。
different.
人に対する
Both
気
require
配
you
り
to be
は
mindful of other people's
同じで
needs
は
and
ありません。
desires.
女中だった時
Mindful
の
of others
私
is the
は
last thing I
気
ever
配りなん
was as
て
the maid.
あの時だ
I
って
think you will find that
あっ
not
たと思い
entirely
ますよ。
true. Even as the maid, your heart was
君自
still
身の
present.
うん
もちろん強
Now,
制
of
してい
course,
るわ
this
け
is
ではありま
entirely
せ
your
ん。
decision. The path is
その気があっ
available
たら
to you
やっ
if
て
you
み
are
て
at
は
all
どうかと
interested
い
in
う
taking
話。
it.
ただ、
That said,
挑
I
戦できる
believe
土
it's
台があるの
perfectly
なら、
fair to take an
経
opportunity
験があろうと
present,
なかろうと
presented,
手を出してみて
take an
もいいと思
opportunity
うんで
present
す。
before you, even if you feel you lack the experience to take proper advantage of it.
挑戦するなら、
And if you do, I will be here to help with anything you need.
なんだか
I don't know. It doesn't feel right to just
全部お膳立て
have
し
it
て
all
もらって
dropped into
進
my
めるの
lap.
はもちろん
Don't
嫌
get me
なわ
wrong,
け
I'm
じゃないんで
thrilled.
私自
I'm
身
just
が
not sure how to
そ
feel
れ
about
でいい
having
のか
everything
な
handed to me
っ
on a silver platter. Like,
て都合よく
I
乗
didn't
っか
earn
って
it
るだけ
myself.
なんじゃないかってそれに
And then I have to
もし
wonder,
失
what
敗
if I
しちゃっ
mess
たら
everything up?
どう
Which
しようって
I
思
know
うんです
isn't a good attitude to have before even
やる前
trying.
店舗を改装する
But
の
the
だって
renovations are going to
たく
cost
さんお
money,
金
and
がかかる
what if
し
it all goes to waste because of
そこま
me? Normally,
後ろ
I'm
向き
the
なことを
pessimist
言う
and
の
you're the
はこちら
carefree
の
one.
役割で、
But it would seem we've
無
switched
鉄砲な
places
ことをす
today.
る。
だっ
Can you
て
blame me?
迷惑とか
Don't
他
worry
人
about
行
feeling
儀
like
の
you
こ
have to
と
do
は
right
考
by me
え
or
なくてい
anything.
い。
That's not what I want you to
というより、
focus on.
君の人生
We're
は。
walking this path together
私
now.
だから、
So if you're
私に
hesitant
迷
because
惑
you're
がか
afraid
かる
you'll
とい
make
う
my
よう
life
な理由で
difficult,
悩んでいる
please
のな
don't
ら、
be.
それに、
Also, you said it doesn't feel right to have it all dropped in your lap, but all I can provide you is a foundation.
成長させていく
You
の
are the
は、
one who will have to build upon it, Giselle. There will be many challenges. It won't be an easy task by any means.
もしかしたら、
Perhaps
大
you'll
きくつ
stumble
ま
and
ずく
falter
ような
a
失
little
敗があ
along
る
the
かも
way,
しれ
but
ないが、
there's nothing wrong with making mistakes.
それでも構わないじゃないか。その時は、
I will always be here to help you get back on your feet. Whatever you want to do, that's
君
what
が
I
やっ
want
てみ
as
たい
well.
ことは、
うん
ああ、
Anyway,
No.
well, that ended up kind of rambling. The point is,
一方的に色々と言いましたが。
I'm not going to force you to do anything. We're walking this
君の
path
人生は
together now.
私の
Almost sounds
人
like
生
a
でもあ
marriage
るって
proposal.
まるでプロポーズだわ
You two have already sworn to spend the rest of your lives together. Marriage is barely anything at that rate. Like, it's just a ceremony.
まるでというより、
Well,
そのつ
that
も
was
り
the
でしたけど、
intent. What?
君にばか
I
り
don't want
プ
to
レッ
put a
シャーや
huge
責
weight on your
任を押し
shoulders
付け
and
るつ
then
も
not
り
be
はな
there
い
to
ので、
take some of it on my own. So,
もし
if
店
you
を
do
開
decide
く
to
の
open
な
this
ら、
cafe, let's get
その
married
前に
first.
席、ああ、いや、
Not that our
店を
getting
開
married
く
is
開かないは別
conditional
とし
on
ても、
you. Oh, she's gone.
ジゼ
Yeah.
ル
Wait, Giselle.
He might actually be dead.
Giselle, her face as red as a beet, had fainted. Working up the courage to speak those words had taken a lot out of me, but no amount of preparation was enough for her actual response. We were already living together, so the matter of marriage only made a difference on paper. But I suppose I may have underestimated the potency of the word itself. I had tried to be as casual as possible about it, too. And he still nearly killed her. It was all a dream.
夢じゃないですよ。
It was all very real.
気分は
How
どう
are
で
you
すか？
feeling? I didn't think you would actually faint. Mikhail, you really need to start giving me heads up before you drop these bombs on me.
お店のことといい
First it was the cafe, then
け
get...
落ち着け。
Take a deep
言えて
breath.
ない。
You're not even
ま
to
た
the
倒れ
word
るんじゃ
yet.
ないだろうな。
Don't want you fainting on me again.
結婚
Then
の
it
こ
was
と
just
とか
talking about
本当に
getting
いきなりすぎるわ
married, which came totally out of left field. I can only handle so much at once.
それは失礼。
My apologies. Timing and mood are not my strong suits, it seems.
でも
That said,
すご
I'm
く
elated.
あの
But could I have some time to think about the cafe? I want to be absolutely sure I make the right decision.
真剣に考え
Since
な
it
きゃって
affects
思う
not just
の
me, but you too.
もちろん、じっくり
Certainly,
考え
take all
て
the
くだ
time
さ
you
い。
need, but please try not to
でも、
work yourself up too much over
気を
it. Okay,
わかり
I'll
ました
try. Giselle fell uncharacteristically quiet, seemingly deep in thought. Then, quite suddenly, she jumped to her feet and announced, "I'm going to take a little walk." She said she wanted time alone to consider, so I saw her to the door, and then she was off. It was the first time in a while we had been apart on my days off. Perhaps I should have taken this a bit slower, given how significant a choice it was. I was beginning to think that perhaps I'd put too much on her plate at once. It wasn't that any of the decisions were going to be unpleasant, but they would still require a great deal of consideration. I had known Giselle long enough to trust she would reach a conclusion she was satisfied with, but still, I couldn't completely escape from my anxiety. Nonetheless, all I could do was wait.
ジゼルがいないと
Time feels
時
like
間
it's
が長
crawled
く
to a
感じる
halt without with Giselle here. I should check my
メール
phone.
のチェ
Maybe
ック
she's
で
left a message.
うんん
There's a
入
rental
居に関
inquiry,
する
and
問
it's
い合わ
from...
あ
You're kidding
Boss.
me. End of prologue? No? We really have
いつ
swapped
もなら
places today.
悩む役目は
Normally
ミシェ
Mikhail
ル
would
な
be
のに
the fretting, indecisive one.
どうしよ
I don't know what to do.
う
It's a
嬉し
great
いことだ
opportunity, and I
し
do want to
お
try
店も
running
や
a
ってみた
cafe,
いけ
but...
ど
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking where...
あごめん
My
こっち
bad.
も
I
歩
was
きな
screwing
がら
around on my
携帯い
phone
じ
and...
お
We should have run into each other a lot, huh? You alone today? You sulking because you got into a fight with your BF or something?
いいえい
Oh, no,
喧
we're
嘩なん
not
て
fighting.
全然
It's nothing like that.
マリアさんもお
Are
散
you
歩
out
で
for a
すか
walk, Maria? Whatever
例の
happened with you and your
喫茶店の
boss?
オーナーには
I
と
got
り
him
あ
to
えず謝っ
apologize,
て
but
も
that's
らった
about
け
it.
ど
Still jobless,
そ
just
んだけさ
floating around looking for whatever.
そうなん
I'm
で
sorry
す
to
か
hear that.
うんマリアさんってい
Maria seems
ろ
like
い
someone
ろ
who's
な
got a
仕
lot
事
of
を経験
experience,
それに
both in
人
work
生
and
経
in
験
life,
も豊富そう
and in beating people to death, and in knives.
で長
And
年
in
女中をやっていた私が
work.
言うようなことじゃないかもしれな
Then
いけ
again,
ど
I did spend 1,000 years as the maid, so I guess I do too. That too.
うんどうしたのなんか言い
Why
た
the
げな
stare?
顔し
Take
て
a
るけ
picture,
ど
why don't you? It'll last longer.
あの
Maria, I know this is kind of an out of the blue, but do you
ちょっ
mind if
と
I ask
相
your
談に乗っ
advice
て
on
もらえま
something?
せんかうん
And one gun, yeah, also true.
はーんな
Well,
るほ
that's
ど
something,
ね
alright. And now you're on the fence about whether to go through with it or not.
ええ
In a nutshell, yes.
ぶっちゃけ
If you don't mind me being blunt, I don't know what the hell the hang up is.
あんたの彼
Your
氏
BF,
ミシェルっつったっけ
Mikhail, was it?
そ
He
いつ
said
も
he'd help
協
you
力
out,
する
right?
って言ってん
If
で
you're
しょ
just scared of screwing up, well, you'll never get anything done with that
失敗が怖いって言っても。
attitude.
そもそもやりたくないとかだったらわかるけどね
For some reason, I just
急に店や
imagine
れって言われても面倒だもんな
the exact words weren't quite there, but like the message of Maria being like, "Don't worry about fucking things up, just fuck things up." Like, you know, just positive intonation on it. Like, I feel like that's something she'd say. Again, not quite the words, but the meaning, you know. Now, if you don't want to, that I can understand. The whole thing sounds like a huge pain in the ass to me.
うん
Oh no, I absolutely want to. I keep thinking about all the things I could do with it.
どんな内装
I
にし
want
よ
to
うかしら
decorate
と
what
か
kind of things I could have
ど
in
ん
the
なメニュー
menu,
にしよう
what
か
our
しら
selling
とか
point should be.
考えが止
I'm
まらな
having
く
so
て
much fun just
すごく
imagining it all.
楽しんでだったら
So again,
なんで
What's the hang up?
その
I
多
think
分
I'm a little anxious because
うまく
everything's
い
going
きすぎている
too
のが
well.
それにお店を
It
開
wasn't
けるって言
anything I
って
did
も
to get here after all.
何もかも
It's
用意し
just
ても
been
らっ
handed
て
to me on a silver platter.
普通はお店を
But I
開
know
くっ
most people who
て
try to open a cafe
Mina
have to go through so
苦労して
much more.
そこまでやって
They have to fight so
よう
much
やくた
harder
ど
to
り
get
着け
where
る
I
と
am.
ころだと苦労して大変な思い
Just
を
because it
し
was
たから
harder for them
偉いっ
doesn't
て
make
わ
them
けでも
special. And
ま
just
して
because they
や
fought
苦労し
together
たから
doesn't
成
mean they're
功
any
す
more or
るって
less
話
likely
で
to
もない
succeed.
もらえるものは
Well, I
も
see
ら
it.
え
You
る
should
うち
take
に
what's
手にして
dangling
お
in
け
front of
ばい
you
い
while
ん
you
だ
got
よ
the chance. Who knows how
い
long
つ
it'll
もら
actually
え
be
なくな
there?
る遠慮したり
Spend
ま
too
だ
long
早
telling
いって
yourself
思
you
ってい
don't
るうち
deserve
に
it or you're not
手が
ready, and by the
届か
time
な
you
くなる
think
か
you
も
are,
しれな
it
いよ
might be long gone.
うん全部用意してもらっ
Take
たっ
that
て
silver
思っ
platter
て
and
ん
give
な
him
ら
a gold one
それ
back
を
later
後
if
で
you're
全部
that
返
self-conscious
してやれ
about
ば
it.
いいそれとも
And
楽
if you're
な
worried
思い
people
を
will
して
think
るっ
you've
て
got it
思わ
easy,
れ
who
るのが
cares?
嫌
Those
だな
assholes think whatever they want.
そんなの思わせて
Look,
おけばいい
Maria's
んだ
gonna tell you
よ
how it is, okay?
マリアさんそりゃ
I
私
mean,
だって
even
今
I'm thinking, like, what
私
the
が大
hell's
変な
this
目に遭っ
chick's
てるのに
problem? I'm out
こ
of
い
a
つ
job
は
here. She's
超
worried
恵
about
まれて
being
るって
too
思ってるよ
blessed. Also, that stare could just...
あ思って
I
るんだ
walked right into that.
でも私とあんたは違うんだしそんなところで恨んでもしょうがないもんね
But we're different people with different lives, and holding that against you ain't gonna make my life any better.
何
What did I say?
そんな
You look like your
驚い
eyes
た
are
顔
about to
して
pop out of your head.
う
Oh, nothing bad. Don't
すごくい
worry.
いこと言っ
It
てま
was
すよ
really nice, actually, which
その
kind of surprises me.
だって
I mean, this is the person whose grudge against Yokoko sparked their tragedy back then.
あれも
Maybe that part of her was just amplified by the mansion's curse.
本当だったら
And under normal
こんな風
circumstances,
に
she's
さ
more
っぱ
laid
りと
back
した
about
考え
things.
がマリ
I
ア
don't
さん
know if laid
ありがと
back
う
describes
悩ん
any
でい
part
た
of...
のが
No,
嘘みたい
her
に
whole
すっきりし
job.
た気分です
Her whole job. But, you know, generally, her attitude, I don't know if laid back describes any part of her. Thank you, Maria. It's like a huge weight has been lifted from my shoulders.
それならいいんだけど私が何か言った程度ですっきりできるんならもともとは大きな悩みなんかじゃないんだよきっとね
I'm glad to hear it. Though if me rambling at you is enough to clear your mind, you must not have been worrying too hard to begin with. Maybe
そうか
not.
もし
I
れま
guess
せ
I
ん
was just
ね
working myself up about
自
things,
分自身で
making them
勝
seem
手に
bigger
悩
than
み
they
事
were.
を大きくしちゃってただけなのかも
But
でも
there's still one more
ま
problem
だ
I
大き
need,
な
I
心
need
配事が
solved.
解決し
And
て
I
い
would
ないん
really,
です
really appreciate it if you
そ
could
し
help me with
て
that.
それについてはぜひ一緒に解決
Me?
一緒に
Help you?
って
With what?
お店を開く
I'm
の
starting up the cafe if you wouldn't mind.
急なお願い
I
だ
know
って
it's
分かって
completely
い
out
る
of
ん
the
ですけ
blue,
ど
but honestly, there's so
実
much
際
I
に
wouldn't
何を
even
して
know
い
where
け
to
ばいいの
begin
か
with.
はマリアさんみ
So
たい
it'd
な
be really
経験者
reassuring
が
to
いて
have
くれる
someone
と
with lots of
心
experience
強
like
い
you
なっ
helping
て
out. Now you've got straight off the deep end. You're just asking someone. You're asking someone you just met the other day to start a business with you.
考えなしにも
There's
程が
reckless, and then
あっ
there's
て
this.
ほん
Holy
と
shit,
超
my
ウケる
sides.
ですよね
Yeah,
やっぱ
I should
り
have seen that coming. Known her for a long, long
私にと
time,
っ
but
て
as
は
far as she's
こ
concerned,
の
we've only
前
just
出会っ
met.
たすみません
I'm sorry.
マリ
I
ア
was
さん
being
の事
selfish.
情も考
Pretend you didn't
え
hear a
ず
thing.
断る
Hold up, I
なん
never said
て言っ
no,
てない
did
んだ
I?
けど
What?
いいよ
Sure, why not?
こう
The
いうの
universe
も
put me here for
何
some
かの
reason,
縁で
and
し
if
ょ
it means I don't have to go
ど
looking
う
for
せ
a
無
job,
職だ
all the
し
better.
いいんで
You
す
will?
か
Really?
こんな
I
急な
totally put you on the
話で
spot, and I can't even
これから
promise
先
anything will
どう
work
なる
out,
か
you
も
know.
それに
Are you
出会
really
った
willing
ば
to
か
put
り
your
なの
trust in
に
someone you
私
just
の
met
こ
the
とを
other
信
day?
用してくれるん
You
です
thought we were
か
con artists or
お前
cultists
は
last time.
自分から
You're the
誘
one
っ
who
てお
asked
いて
me.
な
Don't
ん
go
なの
popping your
さ
own balloon.
運
I'm
を
in a
天に
betting
任
mood
してみ
today.
る気
My
になっ
fate's
た
in
ん
the
だ
universe's hands, so
私
don't
の
worry
こと
about
は
me.
この前は
I
ああ
know I
言った
called
け
you
どさ
sketchy before, but my gut tells
信
me I
じ
can
られる
trust you
ような
now.
気どっかで一
I feel
緒
like
に
we've worked
仕
together
事したよ
somewhere
うな
before.
気がする
Yeah,
ってい
what
う
the hell am I
か
even saying?
だからまそ
So
う
that's
い
into
うこ
that.
とで
Nice working with you,
これ
boss.
店長さんっていう
Boss
のは
might be
ま
a
だ
little
気が早
premature,
いけど
but yes, it's nice to have you on
でも
board, Maria.
さすがに一
Never
から
had to
店
build
を
a
立
place
ち
from
上
the
げる
ground
のは
up before. This
私
should
も
be
やっ
fun.
たことないはい頑張りまし
They're
ょう
like, oh, we need to like take down this like old piece of furniture. She just goes like right up to it, punches it, shatters into splinters. You know, normal stuff. Be a lot of work, but we can do it. Yeah, it's normal. When Giselle returned, it seemed as though all her apprehensions had vanished into a puff of smoke. She was set on moving forward with the cafe, and evidently she had also found someone to lend her a hand, Maria. I was more than a little curious as to how exactly the pieces fell in the way they did. Maria had just lost her job, though, so the arrangement worked out well for everyone involved. And then, after Giselle had filled me in on everything on her end, I gave her an update of my own. There would likely be someone moving in on the second floor in the near future, and our prospective new tenant was possibly someone we both knew quite well. Giselle's weekdays from then on were spent scrambling to sort through the mountain of tasks that would be necessary for opening a new cafe. Even when I was at the office and not around to help, she sent me regular updates on her progress. Because we weren't in the city and the majority of customers were likely to be locals, she said she wanted to make it into a comfy, inviting space. I helped out whenever I had time off work, and time again I found myself amazed at the progress. At this pace, it seemed likely the cafe would be ready to open for business in time for summer. The other day, Maria had apparently brought in an acquaintance of hers to construct the counter, and the both of us were quite caught off guard when we found out exactly who that acquaintance was. Also, Topaz, how you doing? Enjoy the work. Hope your weekend's been good.
おはようございます
Good morning, Maria.
おはようジゼル
Good morning, Giselle. I gave your address to the guy I was telling you about, so he should be here shortly. You make sure to work him to the bone.
いやいや
Oh no, I
コ
could
キ
never.
使うなんて
I
そ
feel
ん
bad
な
enough having him help in the
むしろ
first place.
本当なら業
They
者
should
の
be
人を
hiring a
雇うような
carpenter
も
to
のな
take
の
care of
に
this sort of thing.
いいんじゃん
That's the big deal. He says he loves
力仕事好きだって
building
言ってる
stuff and
し
hard
も
labor.
できることは知り合いで
What
済
are
ませてい
connections
っ
if
た方
not
がいいん
fusing,
だ
especially
よ
at times
こう
like
いう
this?
のはじゃあ
Well,
お
if you
言葉に
insist.
甘えちゃいますけど誰が来
She
るのか
never
聞
did
い
tell
て
me
な
his
かったけ
name,
ど
but out of all
Maria
Maria's
さんの知り合いって
acquaintances I know,
ヤコポさんな
I'm
のかし
guessing
ら。
it's Yakopo.
すまない。少し遅れてしまった。
No! Apologies, it took longer to get here than I had hoped. Yukimasa.
そっち
Look, if you can't break humans in half, why not break the wood? Right? I guess? What? It's you!
彼
Is she
女は
okay?
大丈夫なのか
She seems rather perturbed.
妙な反応をされてしまったが。
あ
Yeah, just don't worry about it. She gets kind of
この子
kooky
はたまに変
sometimes.
そうか。
I see. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Yukimasa Aida. Leave all the heavy lifting to me. That's what I'm here for.
なんで
Right. Yeah, I'm Giselle. Nice to meet you. Please
よろ
don't
しく
kill
お願
me.
いします。
本当に
Are you
大丈夫
sure she's okay? Are you sure you haven't killed anybody?
大丈夫です。
I'm fine.
大丈夫じゃ
She's
ない
not
です。
fine at all.
一体どういう
What
つ
the
ながりな
world did
の
the two of them find
どう
each
して
other?
マリア
Why
さん
did
と
Maria and
ユキマサさんが仲良くしているの
Yukimasa, did she screw up his name? End up friends? uh,
彼らの間に何
what could have
があった
happened
の
to form this pairing?
早速作業を始めよ
Well,
うか
let's get to work then. Has the lumber been delivered already? If so, I'd like to saw it into smaller pieces so it's easier to move.
こういうのは手
I
慣
have
れて
plenty
い
of
るから
experience, so leave it to
任せ
me.
てくれ。
それって
I sure hope it doesn't mean he has lots of experience sawing up people to make their bodies easier to move. Girl, don't say that out loud. Neither Giselle nor I had expected him to show up at Maria's introduction. Nonetheless, work progressed smoothly. And by the time the last vestiges of spring began yielding way to the coming summer, the cafe's interior design had largely taken shape. And then near the end of May, our apartment's newest resident was scheduled to arrive. We both took the day off, waiting impatiently for her arrival. We prayed it would be the reunion we had all long anticipated. Coming, it'll be just a second.
あ
I'll
あ、
get it.
私、
きっと引っ越してきた子
Probably
で
the
す
new
よ
girl. We should both
一
go out
緒
to
に
greet
向かい
her.
ましょう。
あ
Yep, you're
あ、
right.
やっぱり
It's our new
2
neighbor.
階の新しい人ですね。いらっしゃい。
It's a pleasure to have you.
そして、
And
その時、
we believed with all our souls that the world was
すべ
filled
て
with
が
hope.
希望に満
And
ち
we
ている
believed
と
with all our
信じてやまな
souls
かっ
that
た。
everything was better now. That this was a wholly happy reunion.
こう過去とは異な
That we
り
were、all free of
この
suffering
時代
and
に
torment.
苦しみは
Tragedy
存
is
在
a
しない
mere
の
relic
だ
of
と。
the past.
すべてがゼロに
That
な
we
り、
had all been given
新しく
completely
始まっ
fresh
たのだ
starts.
と。事実。
And while that much was
それは
true,
間違いで
it
はない。
also wasn't the full
ただ
story.
し、
We only had a
正解でも
small
ない。
fragment of it.
私たちが
We
関
knew
わりを
nothing
持た
of
なか
what
っ
had
た。
transpired in the
この
past
一年
year
の間に
before our paths had crossed
彼らに
theirs
何
once
があっ
more.
たのかを。私たちはも
In
う
each of their new tales, we took neither the role of observers
彼ら
nor
に
of
介入で
players
きるよう
able to
な
offer
特
them
別
our
な存在
hands.
でもない。これは
They lived their own
私たちの
lives
手を
well
離れた。
beyond our reach, and in
彼ら
them
の
they
日常
found
だ。
what they needed to push forward,
それぞれの
to forge their own paths. Chapter 1 year earlier. Early April. Reincarnation, Seeing Glass. I've taken so much time off lately, but it's been a long weekend, and this is such a logical ending point. I know it's early, but I really should catch up on sleep. I feel bad I've taken so much time lately, but like, I really should just kind of... I definitely don't know his Japanese voice, but his English voice is great. Also 10-2, great game that nobody ever played, and fewer people liked, but love 10-2. We'll defend it forever. Yeah, I know it's early. We got through what we were definitely going to do today, and we got the prologue to set us up for what's going to happen now. I should go further, but I really should just rest up tonight. It's been a good weekend. It has been a good weekend. It's also been kind of long. And I'm just kind of drained. So, tomorrow, Tuesday, Thursday, Valkyria Chronicles 4, picking up where we left off. Saturday something that's far ahead. Probably Valkyria Chronicles, let's be honest. Given the rate at which I speedily work through things, I can't guarantee when it will come out. But I am working on a Top Games 2025 video. I have the loose script down. It needs minor editing. I need to record footage of all the games. And it is specifically the same as last time, top games I played in 2025. Not necessarily games released. I narrowed it down to 11. Could not get it to 10. Still has honorable mentions too. So I need to record all the footage, record the audio, and edit it together, which will take time. But the script is functionally done minus minor editing. And I will be working on that over the next week or so. I can't guarantee when it'll come out. When I'm closer to finish, I'll be able to give a date or something. But as of now, I don't. But it is happening. I didn't do one last year, and I regretted it. So I'm doing one this year. But yeah. For now, we got ourselves a monster, a quote, a Discord. Oh, there's probably supposed to be a slash there. But yeah, that was the synced up. I don't even know if that clip still there is. Watching the Game Awards. Oh, that's so soon, isn't it? That's not next week, though. But yes, agreed. The 11th, we'll do a Discord watch along. So, I'm still leaving it. I'm just going to leave the clip up there anyway, even if it doesn't work, just because the moment happened regardless. Yeah, the 11th we'll definitely be watching the Game Awards, but that's next week anyway, not this upcoming week. But yes. Yeah, that's... And then the 16th, the week of the 16th, 17th, 18th, will be Monster Hunter and new raid tier. But that's also 2 weeks away. So, those are things that will be happening, but those are things that will be happening in the future. Excuse me. Also, don't hate me, but I'm debating restarting Octopath Traveler 2 before I continue Trails in the Sky second chapter, because I really want to beat Octopath Traveler 2, but I really should play Trails in the Sky second chapter, but I really need to finish Hades 2 first. But you know, it's fine. None of those will happen anyway, because I'll be working on the video, right? Yeah. Might be a birthday ticket. 18th is what day? Thursday? Okay. I as of right now, I don't have any plans for that Thursday, so... my backlog is a mess, but also... So, I'm hitting it at my rate. I'm hitting it at my pace. But yeah. But that's what we got. Obviously, the huge heckin' shoutouts and thanks to 7th for dropping the 5 gifted sub hype train. Hot damn. Always appreciated. It's phenomenal. Amazing. Love it. Thank you. And everyone in chat. Hanging out. Having a good time. Enjoying some not sad Fata Morgana now. I have to hope that, like, other than maybe, like, bumps in the road, that all of the Reincarnation stuff is going to be generally good. It's optional. It's post game. It's the here's the payoff to all of that. Like, I'm sure there will be down moments, but I have to assume this will be a generally positive experience. Yeah, it is a terrible idea for a variety of reasons, yes. I would not veto it, but I would not let that make me continue to stream it either. If you really wanted to ticket me to play from where I am for 4 hours, I would not veto that ticket, but I think it's a bad idea. I don't think you should do that for a variety of reasons that you're also thinking. But yeah, either way, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. This has been Viper's Viperland. Can't wait to do some tank action tomorrow. Bye.